Right at the entrance to the demon realm, a massive pillar of light erupted. Someone grabbed a megaphone and shouted, "Demon Realm Raid Team, everyone check your supplies, formation, and positions." The crowd was buzzing with laughter and chatter. This is the first time we've had a group this big. Right. I'm so nervous. We have the Flying Tiger Gang with us, so what's there to worry about? I heard this raid is just a training session for the Flying Tiger Gang, so there won't be any casualties. I hope they notice me. Up ahead, there was someone sitting quietly, wiping his sword. Suddenly, someone asked, "Hey, what's your class?" Cell Gang Rim paused for a second. The Flying Tiger Gang doesn't recruit based on personality. They only look at your class. If they didn't, I wouldn't even be here right now. Information: Cell Gang Rim. Classification: Insect Class. Grade 3. Guild. Flying Tiger Gang. The story goes back 5 years, after the Day of Awakening. Everyone's abilities were decided by the 8 characters of fate, something that has clung to them since birth, based on the day and time they were born. He hated that fact with a burning passion. Fate is absolute trash. Someone behind him poked him on the shoulder. He jumped and spun around. Hello, you're from the Flying Tiger Gang. Right, I think we're in the same squad. The young man rubbed his neck shyly. This is also my first time participating in an extermination mission, so I'm really nervous. He smiled warmly. But I'm really happy to be fighting alongside someone from the Flying Tiger Gang. Hearing that, Gangrim felt confused. Why is he talking to me? Is he a rookie? The group from earlier waved and called out, "Hey, you over there, come here for a sec." The guy pointed at himself. "Huh, me." The other person leaned in and whispered, "Be careful, that guy is Cell Gang Rim." He looked back in panic. Cell Gang Rim. Then he quickly turned away, but our eyes had already met. Gang Rim sat gloomily in the corner. Just as expected. There were rumors that he was the Cell Gang Rim who killed his teammates and stole their powers. His face remained cold. Many people returned with injuries whenever they were in a platoon with Cell Gang Rim. His fate has death written all over it. Anyone who goes with him meets with bad luck. Those rumors spread because of my power. He pulled something out. The fate window. All the information popped up. Cell Gang Rim. Class. Insect Class. Grade 3. Guild. Flying Tiger Gang. Power. Fate Discovery. Class. Dragon Class. Grade 3. You can check your own fate window or someone else's. General System Power. Fate Discovery. Class. Dragon Class. Grade 3. You can extract a portion of an opponent's fate when they die and make it your own, but it will increase your bad karma. Gangrim told himself. This power is ominous. It allows me to steal fate from corpses. And it is true that many teammates who went with me got injured. He lowered his head. They all got dragged into my bad luck. Everything gradually became clear. Fate classes are divided into 5 layers. The highest layer is God. Next is Dragon, Demon, Human, and Insect. Each layer is further divided into Grade 1, Grade 2, and Grade 3. My class is at the very bottom, the lowest in society, Insect Class. He realized early on. In other words, I'm not strong enough to take down other Awakeners, and I need to meet a few more conditions to use my power. He bowed his head even lower. So I have never killed anyone or stolen fate from any corpse. He frowned. Damn it. Why am I getting so depressed right now? Yu Harang rested her chin on her hand and looked at him. Cell Gang Rim. What are you doing here all alone? He was startled. Yu Harang. She smiled brilliantly. There's going to be a dinner party after the subjugation. You're coming, right. Information on her. Yu Harang. Class, God Class. Grade 3. Guild. Flying Tiger Gang. Zhang Teihan spoke up to remind him. Big bro, you didn't go last time, so you have to show up this time. Information. Zhang Teihan. Class. Demon Class. Grade 2. Guild. Flying Tiger Gang. Gang Rim abruptly stood up to leave. I'm not going. The boy was surprised. Huh. Why? Gangrim calmly replied. I'm too lazy. Even if I went, I'd just be treated like trash by the other guilds anyway. She looked down, a bit disappointed. Cell Gang Rim. I even skipped my school field trip to come here. Is it because those losers keep acting scared of you? She put her hands on her hips and asked, "Who is it?" "If I find out," he sighed. "Are you even aware that I am 10 years older than you?" She pouted and puffed out her cheeks. "But you're weaker than me." Tehan rushed over to plead. "Everyone is here, so you have to come too." "Bro," Harang chimed in. "That's right. If anyone dares to bully you, I'll beat them up." A cold voice rang out from behind. "You Harang, Jiang Tehan." Kondo Hun spoke sternly. "I understand that you two want to chat with Selgang Rim, but the mission is about to start. Both of you, return to your positions." Kondo Hyun, class, human rank, tier 2, guild, Flying Tiger Gang. She pouted. "All right, I'm coming. You never forget to nag me. Hey, promise you'll show up at the night party." "Okay." Then the two of them turned away. "Selgang Rim, catch you later." Du Hyun patted his shoulder. "Selgang Rim, take good care of yourself." "You good," he replied. "The Vanguard team are the ones in danger. I'm just hanging back in the rear." He frowned with worry. "I'm still a little uneasy since you won't be near me." He gave a faint smile. "I'm fine. Thanks, though." After that, the two of them split up, heading in opposite directions. I really wish I could be fighting right there beside him. The loudspeakers blared again. "The special mission to raid the demon world is about to commence. All groups please strictly execute your assigned tasks." Gangrim looked up with a stern expression, listening closely. An intense light engulfed the entire area. He closed his eyes and told himself, "I just need to stay in the back and clean up the stragglers. It'll be fine. I won't end up hurting anyone." He gripped his sword tightly. The path ahead was already swarming with monsters. Mightier beasts were popping up everywhere. Vanguard teams, move in, rear guard teams. Hold your positions at the entrance. Everyone was fired up with fighting spirit and charged forward. The monsters opened their jaws wide. Du Hyun immediately rushed in to attack. Tehan dashed forward and swung his fist at it. Harang rode a beast and charged right in. A giant monster. Swiss is preparing a summon. Rear guard teams, get ready for combat. Its body swelled up, then it shot out a barrage of projectiles. The leader shouted an order. "Frontline groups, ignore the low-tier monsters and hold your positions." 3 monsters clustered together in one spot. Their eyes glowed red. Just looking at them was terrifying. Gangrim stepped forward and slashed. He immediately raised his sword high, continuing the battle. Blood splattered all the way up to the tree canopy. He froze, gasping for air. "This is harder than I expected. We've gone in too deep, and it's getting hard to breathe because of the demonic aura." A monster lunged at him from behind. "I need to get out of here, fast." It slashed a long gash across his back. The others seemed to wake up, all turning their eyes toward him at once. They swarmed him from all sides, and the one from before pinned him down. Gangrim squeezed his eyes shut in helplessness. "Is there anyone?" A blindingly bright light suddenly appeared. Shinua made quick work of the monsters. Everyone was incredibly grateful. That's the guildmaster of the Flying Tiger Gang. She's even helping out the rear guard teams. He raised his hand too, whispering softly, "Thank you." She waved back in response. Shinua. Class. God rank tier 3. Guild. Master of the Flying Tiger Gang. Suddenly, rocks and debris crashed down from above. She immediately spun around to look in that direction. The group panicked. "What the hell? Is that the boss? Aren't we supposed to be a long way from the boss room?" A colossal monster growled menacingly. It slowly closed in. "The boss is actually here. All fire attribute hunters. Get to the front line." Its eyes flashed with a sinister light. Then it opened its massive jaws wide as it took a hit. A long, jagged gash was ripped right across its back. Blood sprayed out from the wound like a fountain. The people nearby hurriedly covered their faces and squeezed their eyes shut in terror. Thick clouds of smoke and dust billowed up, obscuring everything. The massive monster collapsed heavily into a widening pool of its own blood. Reflected clearly in that crimson pool was the silhouette of a woman. Baek Yang stood there, radiating murderous intent, and demanded, "Where is Selgang Rim?" Everyone held their breath, staring at her in stunned silence. Then someone blurted out in confusion, "What the hell is going on? Who are you?" Gang Rim couldn't wrap his head around it. Did that woman just solo the boss? And why is she looking for me? She coldly raised her sword, her expression void of any mercy. She closed her eyes for a brief moment and muttered, "Fine then." Then, without hesitation, she swung her blade at the people standing nearest to her. The scene was instantly horrifying. Those who were struck collapsed to the ground lifelessly. Blood splattered onto his face, leaving him frozen in shock. Baek Yang spoke with cold-blooded indifference. "I just need to kill all of you. Since Selgang Rim is hiding somewhere among this crowd." The dust and smoke still swirled thickly in the air, while blood continued to pour from the monster's corpse. The spreading puddle of blood once again reflected the terrifying figure of Baek Yang. She stood amidst the haze and repeated her question. "Where is Selgang Rim?" Gang Rim looked down in bewilderment, thinking, "Did this woman really just kill the boss all by herself? Why is she hunting me down?" Hiding up in the tree, his body began to glow faintly as he wondered, should I use Fate Discovery to check her out first? The system interface popped up. Ability activated, Fate Discovery. The information displayed fully. Name, Baek Yang. Class, unknown. Rank, demigod. This individual's fate is secured. He was stunned. Demigod rank. I've never seen a level like that before. The system continued its explanation. Regression. Class rank. Demigod. Allows the user to carry all current memories back to the past. This ability cannot be used if the user is already dead. He clicked his tongue in thought. A top-tier regression ability like that. I should go down there. She probably came here because she knows something about me from the future. Suddenly, a tree branch shot out, blocking his path right in front of his face. A voice rang out, commanding him, "Stay right there." He realized immediately. Sound transmission technique. I guess I'm not supposed to interfere with what's happening down there. Sua stepped out coldly, gripping her sword. "What do you want?" Baek Yang saw her and immediately interrogated. "Are you Selgang Rim? Join my guild," she demanded bluntly. "You can make an exchange with me." Then she closed her eyes and scoffed. "Actually, never mind. Forget it." As soon as she finished speaking, she swung her sword again, cutting down 2 more people. Blood splattered across her face and body as she declared, "I just need to wipe you all out. I'm working on the assumption that Selgang Rim is hiding somewhere in this crowd," she stated with absolute certainty. "I won't spare a single one of you." Sua gritted her teeth and charged forward to attack. Elsewhere, Gangrim was struggling to chop through the giant tree branch blocking him. "I'm the one that woman is looking for." He decided he had to step out and reveal himself before it was too late. He slashed at the branches while shouting, "Let me go, Sua." Below, the crowd was in a chaotic panic, screaming, "Murderer! Everyone! Run for your lives." The 2 women continued to clash, engaging in a fierce battle. Baek Yang coldly laid out her condition. "I'll spare their lives if you hand over Selgang Rim." Sua replied without a second of hesitation. "I won't let you harm a single member of my guild." She immediately launched a counterattack. She gets knocked back a considerable distance by the impact. Sua coughs up a mouthful of blood, her body trembling. A wave of intense pain washes over her, causing her to grimace in agony. Baek Yang raises her sword high, ready to finish her off. But suddenly, 3 people rush in from behind to stop her. She notices their presence immediately. She spins around in a flash, launching a counterattack. She and Do Hyun clash head-on in a fierce exchange. He freezes in terror as the sharp blade stops just inches from his throat. Sua lies there helplessly, suffering from her severe injuries. Suddenly, someone jumps down and lands right beside her. Taehan throws a furious punch straight at her face, screaming, "You bastard!" But she catches his fist effortlessly, and he lets out a miserable scream. "No." The others gather around, watching in horror as she growls, "Damn it, you are blocking my path." Baek Yang stands directly in front of them, radiating an overwhelming, murderous aura. Gangrim's voice echoes through the chaos, "Help me." He desperately drives his sword into the ground, thinking, "I have to get out of here." She asks the same question again. "Where is Selgang Rim?" Meanwhile, he finally manages to slice through the binding branches. He pushes himself to the limit, telling himself, just a little bit more. He gasps for air, panting heavily. All right, I did it. Without wasting a second, he immediately dashes out of the trap. Gangrim falls straight down, landing in a pool of fresh blood on the ground below. He braces his hands against the ground and slowly pushes himself up to a sitting position. His eyes widen, filled with absolute terror at the scene before him. Every single one of his teammates has been defeated. Baek-yang walks toward him with slow, deliberate steps, still paralyzed by shock. He stares blankly at her approaching figure. She coldly steps over the bodies of his fallen comrades scattered across the ground. The devastating scene burns itself into his vision. His face goes pale as he realizes, I am too late. Despair and self-loathing flow out with his tears. I should have just died. That would have ended it. Tears stream down his face uncontrollably. This is all my fault. I am just a useless Beagleville nobody. Baek-yang remains as cold as ice, saying, You must be Selgang Rim. Suddenly, Sua's massive tree branches erupt from the ground. She appears with a surge of power right behind the enemy. Baek-yang reacts instantly, while Sua screams, How dare you touch a member of my guild? Baek-yang speaks up calmly, I do not understand. Baek-yang looks at her indifferently and says, If you had just handed over Selgang Rim, you could have saved everyone else. Then, without hesitation, Baek-yang drives her sword straight through Sua's body. Sua struggles to speak clearly through the pain. The duty of a guildmaster is to protect. Sua summons every last bit of her strength to shout, her hand gripping Baek-yang's wrist tightly, to protect the members of the guild. A blinding burst of light suddenly erupts. Gangrim watches helplessly as she gets stabbed, realizing the barrier has been broken. Run. Tears well up in his eyes as a single thought surfaces. I am going to die. He knows it for a fact. I cannot defeat her. He stares at her without blinking, thinking, I am going to be killed by her too. She came here specifically to kill me. I was supposed to be the only one to die, so why is this happening? His gaze shifts toward Sua, but the one dying right now is Jinhua. The familiar system panel pops up, scanning for corpses in the area. He clings to it like a final lifeline. Do you want to use the Destiny Theft ability? Gangrim glares at her, his eyes filled with fury. The system asks cautiously, Activate Destiny Theft ability. Warning, using this ability will accumulate negative karma. There are currently 421 corpses in the area. Whose destiny do you wish to steal? He bites his lip so hard it hurts, seething with rage. Blood trickles from his lip as his eyes glow intensely. All of them. All 421. His aura instantly shifts, becoming something entirely different. The system updates, checking available destinies for theft. It is all because of this wretch with an insect-class destiny. Gangrim squeezes his eyes shut in guilt. Your magic tier is too low. Only partial destiny extraction is possible, he thinks. How many people have died because of me? After a brief check, he receives the results. Too many targets detected, extracting destinies at random. Painful memories come flooding back. They were right. Your magic has increased after absorbing a portion of the target's magic. You have received the Blooming White Flower ability. Death follows wherever you go. You have received the Stealth ability. Then come the Beautiful Memories. Your Water attribute. Endurance has increased. Voices echo in his mind. Who dares to bother you? I'll take care of them. It's all my fault. Don't worry. No one is kinder than him. You have received the 1,000-pound drop ability. You have received the Skywalk ability. Gangrim clutches his head, dizzy and overwhelmed. My destiny killed everyone. It's all my fault. Suddenly, a voice rings out. You have quite an interesting destiny. He looks up, his eyes completely empty. You have received the One-Leaf Technique ability. Baek-yang coldly utters 2 words, just die. The system finalizes the process. You have successfully stolen the destinies of 421 people. Immediately, he swings his sword horizontally at her. This is all your fault. She freezes, taken aback by his sudden power. She instantly retreats, putting distance between them. Gangrim grits his teeth. I can't let it end like this. They both rush into combat. I have to kill this woman before I die. Swordmaster ability activated. His eyes lock onto her silhouette. Eagle Eye ability activated. He charges forward without a second of hesitation. Reflection ability activated. He follows up with another slash before she can even react. Golden Buddha ability activated. Baek Yang counters immediately. Steel Body ability activated. His body takes the brunt of several sword strikes. Pain Resistance ability activated. He pushes off the ground, leaping high into the air. Skywalk ability activated. He grips the hilt of his sword tightly, pointing it straight at her. 1,000-pound finger ability activated. He seizes the moment. She has revealed an opening. She glances back, her eyes glowing with power. A massive source of power crashes down. Ice Spirit Summon ability activated. Gangrim coughs up a mouthful of blood. He gets knocked back and crashes hard onto the ground. He clenches his fists in fury, thinking, damn it. Even though I possess all these powers, I still don't know how to use them properly. His sword is broken, and luckily a few powers activated on their own. But with this body and these weapons, I can't bring out the full potential of my abilities. He faces reality, realizing that even after stealing the destinies of 421 people, I still can't get my revenge. Another wave of attacks comes rushing toward him. Gangrim squeezes his eyes shut, thinking, if only I understood how to wield these powers. Suddenly, an idea flashes through his mind. That's right, there is one power that I understand best. A weapon belonging to Baek Yang pierces right into his leg. He collapses from the pain, struggling to pull it out. He narrows his eyes and glares at her. She mocks him arrogantly, saying, "It is useless. Sel Gangrim, you are a man destined to die." He summons all his strength and rips the fragment out. His gaze hardens with determination. Thinking, I have been watching this for years. He summons a mass of branches belonging to Sua, thinking, if it is this power. Giant branches shoot straight toward her, as he understands this ability all too well. The power Woodleaf Arts has been activated. Baek Yang is startled and swings her sword to block. Gangrim starts comparing this to before. She tries to slice through every branch, thinking, I guessed he was a swordsman, but looking at this, he is quite skilled at magic too. She unleashes a massive slash. However, with magic like this, all the branches are sliced apart. She is determined to make it difficult for him to maintain the spell. In that very moment, Gangrim rushes in from behind her. He raises the weapon of hers that he pulled out earlier high in the air. Then he stabs it straight into her body. Time seems to slow down completely. Her blood spurts out. Baek Yang slowly falls downward. He cracks a triumphant smile. Then, he falls after her, thinking, I finally killed her. I finally got my revenge. Both of them crash heavily onto the ground. Gangrim is exhausted and clutches his wound, thinking, I have killed Baek Yang. He coughs up another mouthful of blood, thinking, it is finally over. But then, the wounds on his body start to close up. The system updates, stating that the recovery power has been activated. He sits up abruptly and demands, do not activate it. The system immediately stops, and the power activation process is cancelled. He falls into despair, thinking, what is the point of living? And Gangrim tries to smile even as tears well up in the corners of his eyes. He struggles to stand up, thinking, nothing can be changed anyway. The past, and even the present, there is nothing left. He recalls memories of his childhood. The words from back then come rushing back, saying, your destiny is bound to perseverance and death. You will be an orphan from a young age, and your life will be full of misfortune. Fragmented memories piece themselves together, thinking, it was just as he said. My parents passed away before I could even grow up. He blames himself, thinking, wherever I go, disaster follows. He tells himself, anyone who stays by my side ends up meeting with bad luck. I was always destined to be this miserable and weak. Familiar faces flash before my eyes, and yet they still welcome me with open arms. They died, all because of me. His hands are stained with blood. If only I had found Baek Yang first. If only I had been the first one to die. It would have been so much better if I had just done that. Gangrim closes his eyes tight. If only I could turn back time. Suddenly, he remembers something. Wait a minute. The system alerts him: power, regression, class, demigod. You can return to the past retaining all current memories. This cannot be used after death. His eyes light up a bit. The power to steal destiny has been activated. Regression power acquired. He thinks to himself, I don't know which timeline I'll return to, but finally, the system's voice rings out. Regression power has been activated. He tells himself, even if I go back to the exact moment Baekhyang appears, I will still face it. He suppresses all his expectations. So please, just let this work. Lines of text appear before him, preparing for activation. Your hand, or regression, successful. He slams his hand down hard on the table. The space around him instantly returns to normal. Gangrim freezes, his eyes widening in shock. The living room is dead silent. Suddenly, the doorbell rings. Someone opens the door and walks in. Hello there, I am here to get my horoscope read. Hearing that, he immediately whips his head around. His hands are trembling uncontrollably. The corners of his mouth curl up into a smile. Sua walks in, completely unharmed, along with another person. Hello? He is overjoyed. I really made it back. As soon as he enters, the guy starts bragging. We finally went on our first date. I am looking forward to seeing how compatible we are. Sua's beautiful face stands out. She is not wearing a mask. He stares at her, unable to take his eyes off her. He tells himself, I really have returned. Sua is not dead yet, and she hasn't lost her eyes either. He puts the file folder down. Is that so? I will never let that happen again. Gangrim hands them a piece of paper and a pen. If you don't mind, please write your names, ages, and the time here. The guy happily hands the paper back to him, all done, but she lets out a sigh. She seems a bit uncomfortable. I remember now. She once told me she got involved with some weirdo. I need to make sure she dodges this bullet. After that, he takes back the 2 sheets of paper. Allow me to check the compatibility between the 2 of you. He starts reading. The horoscope shows that this gentleman's element is metal. And as for the young lady, your element is wood. He concludes, this type of horoscope is what we call metal-splitting wood. He explains with a serious expression. This is a very bad omen because an axe can chop down a tree. Both of them are shocked to hear that. What? Sua seems very happy about it. Is that so? I guess we have no other choice then, since our fate together is so terrible. But Senwan gets annoyed. Are you kidding me? What the hell do you think you are doing? Where is the owner of this place? He points his finger. He is right outside at the counter. The guy frowns and urges her. Sua, let's go. I don't trust this guy. But she hesitates. I want to hear more about my destiny. This person seems very skilled. The guy is shaking with anger. You will regret this. Do you think a woman like you can ever meet someone as amazing as me again? She does not even glance at him. It seems she has no intention of seeing you anymore. Please, show yourself out. Hearing that, the guy gets even more furious. He stormed off and slammed the door shut, making it clear that I had better not try to find him ever again. Sua stood there silently, staring at the door that had just slammed shut. She finally spoke up and said, I thought places like this were only supposed to talk about the good things in life, he replied. Usually that is true. While silently apologizing to her for what happened in his past life, she gave a friendly suggestion, saying, It seems like you are really good at this. Could you read my fortune a little more? He immediately agreed and said, Oh, sure thing. Suddenly, his entire demeanor shifted. A bright light suddenly flashed down from above. The space around them immediately distorted, and a system message appeared, saying, Your stats are currently being calculated based on your destiny. Gangrim clutched his head in dizziness, thinking, even though I knew this was coming, I still couldn't avoid the shaking and vertigo. She asked him, Hey, what are you doing? She hurriedly slapped the table to signal him and shouted, Get under the table right now. After saying that, Sua grabbed his hand and pulled him down, reminding him that in his past life, Shinua had protected him just like this. Both of them crawled under the table, and he told himself, Focus. Didn't you think that you would be able to change the future? The space gradually stabilized, and she looked around in total confusion. He quietly walked away, leaving her there bewildered and wondering, what was that strange notification just now about destiny stats? Then she realized he was leaving and called out, "Hey, wait for me." While he thought to himself, "I think it is best if I do not get involved with Shinua." He stepped out of that room. Gangrim scanned the area once, thinking, "I hope there is something good here." He happily reached out his hand and said, "Here it is." Right at that moment, Sua approached him and asked, "Where are you going?" causing him to hurriedly hide that item away. She grabbed his sleeve and said, "We have to evacuate immediately." She dragged him straight ahead, but he said, "Wait a minute." Suddenly, a terrified scream rang out, echoing through the hall. People from outside rushed in screaming, "Run away, it is a monster," leaving her confused as she asked, a monster?" A giant Jun bit down on a person's leg, while the victim screamed, "Get away from me, somebody help me." Blood immediately gushed out from the spot where it had bitten him. Sua panicked and stammered, "Wait, I cannot help you." Gangrim calmly drew his blade. Then he decisively sliced the creature in half. The corners of his mouth curled up as he thought, "I knew they would show up." The remaining Jun started crawling toward them. Giant Jun, rank, level 3 insect. A large Jun that usually eats grass but will now devour both animals and humans. He charged in to exterminate them. He shouted, "Everyone run to a safe place right now." One by one, they were taken down, and Gangrim grabbed the head of one and said, "This is the last one." He spun around when he heard the scream of "Help me" still echoing from over there. He yelled, "If you do not want to die, then grab something and fight. These bugs are not that strong." He suddenly froze in his tracks. Sua was holding a fire extinguisher that was covered in green slime. She smiled brightly and said, "They really are weak compared to how they look. I managed to take one down too." Everyone gasped and asked, "What?" While he gave a gentle smile and thought, "It is nothing." But seeing someone who could take down an entire dragon be this happy about killing a bug is actually pretty funny. Gangrim led everyone away and said, "The upper floor is safe now, so we should go downstairs before they show up again." Then they left one by one, saying, "Thank you so much." He rummaged through the belly of the Jun, thinking, "I need to pick up the spirit jades whenever I get the chance." He dug out several gems and thought, "Even though they are low level, there are still more than I expected." Sua curiously asked, "Hey, why haven't you gone down yet?" He quickly put the gems into his pocket and asked, "Why haven't you left yet?" She replied, "I can't just leave you behind all by yourself." He asked, "Are you seriously worried about a guy you only met yesterday?" She sighed, "Yeah, I am." He reached his hand out toward her, asking, "Even though you don't know what else might happen, it's extremely dangerous." Yet, she remained determined. She was about to explain, but he cut her off, saying, "Shinua, that is exactly why I need to tell you this. Shinua." His expression darkened as he said, "Listen, there is something I need to tell you." Sua looked a bit flustered and asked, "What is it?" He rested his chin on his hand and tilted his head, reciting, "Name, Shinua. Class, Dragon Totem, Level 3. She heard the barrage of information and looked confused, saying, "Wait a minute. What are you talking about?" He continued, "Your attribute is wood, and you possess a power called the wood leaf art." Right after he spoke, a destiny window appeared right in front of her face. Seeing her reaction, he asked, "Did the destiny window just open up?" She looked at it in surprise and replied, "A destiny window. Well, I am seeing something, and I also see the wood leaf art listed here." He raised a finger to remind her, "Do you remember the announcement we heard back in the room? That strange notification said it looks like we have received superpowers." He thought to himself, "Since we have awakened, we will not die unless we encounter something truly overwhelming." Gangrim reminded her, "Come on, let's head down." Both of them held onto the railing as they walked down. She asked, "Hey, so what is your destiny?" He advised, "It is better if we do not tell each other about the contents of the destiny windows we possess." He glanced back, adding, "Speak as if other people can read it too," Sua replied. "Okay." He sank into thought. My destiny window is exactly the same as it was 5 years ago. I could not keep the powers I stole in my past life. The destiny window remained the same. Name: Cell Gang Rim. Class: Insect Level 3. Attribute: Fire. The function also appeared. Destiny Investigation. Cruelty rank: Level 3. You can steal a portion of a target's destiny and make it your own. However, karma will increase when doing so. He continued thinking. There is only one thing that has changed. The system concluded. Currently, you have accumulated a massive amount of karma points. He lowered his face, thinking. This seems to be the result of stealing the destinies of 421 people. If I want to change the future, I have to use the power of destiny theft, but holding on to too many karma points right now is not good. Gang Rim pulled his thoughts back to the present. Karma points will increase when committing a grave sin, such as murder. I will be able to see your destiny when a special power is utilized. But there is one thing. If the karma points are too high, the target will cross over the boundary. The two of them continued shining their lights to find the way. Those who have crossed over the boundary must endure terrible suffering. Sua spoke up. Wait a second. I think there is someone here. A hidden figure appeared in this corridor. That person was wrapped up tight, so it was impossible to tell who it was. She kindly ran over, saying, "I will help you." He urgently stopped her, shouting, "Wait." A giant worm lunged up from behind that person. Gang Rim gripped his knife and stabbed it straight into its body. It was quickly finished off. Luckily, there was only one. She asked curiously, "Is there someone inside that thing?" His hand touched the other person's body and began to glow. He said, "The easiest way to check if they are still alive is this." The system immediately appeared, stating, "The power of destiny theft has been activated." He shook his head and said, "Currently, the number of people nearby has decreased by 1. They are dead." He intently read the destiny window, thinking, it seems they had a powerful ability. If they had awakened, they would have survived. It read, Fire Control Class. Insect Level 3. You can summon and control a small flame. The user can attack a target from a long distance as long as it remains within sight. A small flame hovered over his hand as he decided, "I will take it." The system recorded, "You have received the power of fire control. Accompanied by a consequence. Penalty, you have received karma points." Gang Rim clenched his fist in excitement, thinking, "Truly perfect. I need powers just like this one." Sua hurriedly ran toward one side, shouting, "There is something over there." Blood spurted straight out from the giant worm. Doc Gozen excitedly swung his weapon, slicing through its body, and laughed. "Ha ha, is the new guide really this easy?" Cell Gang Rim confidently challenged, "Then I will take care of the boss myself." Then, he suddenly noticed the two of them. The body of the giant worm was flung toward them. He rested his weapon on his shoulder, stepped forward, and asked, "You guys are still alive?" He asked tentatively. "Are you guys characters teamed up with me?" Gang Rim warily raised his hand to shield Sua. Contrary to expectations, he was extremely cheerful and extended his hand, saying, "I am Doc Gozen. It is very nice to meet both of you." He suddenly remembered, "That is right. This is also where he starts." He politely responded, "I am Cell Gang Rim." He tilted his head and asked, "So what is the name of this heroine here?" She looked flustered and stammered, "Heroine, I am Jinhua." He shook hands with him and said, "Cell Gang Rim and Jinhua." "Great, I will remember that. Now that the teammate acquisition event is over, it will start soon." She looked confused and asked, "What are you talking about?" He replied dismissively, "Is this not how the tutorial in every game usually goes?" His fate window popped up, displaying Doc Gozen, Class, Divine Body Level 3, Attribute, Metal. His rank is Dreamer type. Stage 1. The boundary between dreams and reality becomes blurred. The user will be less affected by demonic energy. Intelligence, pain resistance, and fear resistance will be adjusted before the dragon diagram system. Level 1. Gang Rim darkened his face and looked down, thinking, Doc Gozen will soon become the guildmaster of one of the 5 great sects. However, He glanced over at the pile of giant worms lying scattered around, thinking, this is obvious, even though he is not awakened yet. Gozen rambled on. Did you two not defeat the boss with teammate A, or maybe everyone will receive a strong teammate in the middle of the battle or something like that? He patted his shoulder and said, awaken thanks to the sacrifice of that teammate. He silently evaluated. I know you are a famous novelist, but you are a bit too delusional. All three of them simultaneously turned to one side when a scream rang out. A person rushed over in a panic, screaming, "Save me. There is a monster." A grand giant worm was chasing right behind him. Grand giant worm. Insect type level 1. A monster formed from many insects. It will be killed if all the other insects are defeated, and it has the same feeding habits as the giant worm. That person slipped and fell face first into a pile of worms. His face clearly showed a look of terror. Sua stood frozen, staring at the entire scene. Then, that person's blood began to seep out. Gozen guessed immediately. It looks like that is the boss we have to defeat in the opening part. Right. Gangrim jumped up and rushed forward, while she advised, do you want to kill that thing? We have to run immediately. He launched a massive blast of fire straight at it. The grand giant worm was immediately hit, and Gozen exclaimed, Magic! I knew I could count on you. He looked at him and asked, what do you think? Can we kill it? He frankly replied, no. He concluded firmly, at this moment, we absolutely cannot kill that thing. Gangrim spoke quickly. Right now I can only block it with fire, so... Before he could finish speaking, it had already escaped the fire and lunged forward. He stood his ground to block it and ordered the other two, run away. Then he dashed after them, still unleashing attacks to try and hold it back, realizing that his attacks were not effective. The other two ran ahead, he stayed in the middle, and then fell behind. And at the very rear was the grand giant worm. An explosion erupted just as he dashed away from there. Sua called out anxiously, Sell Gang Rim. She urged him, hurry over here. Gozen grabbed her wrist and pulled her away, saying, do not stop, Shinua, she said frantically. Ah, wait, let go of me. The grand giant worm crawled closer and closer toward him. He felt dizzy once again, hearing the name Cell Gang Rim. The grand giant worm slithered straight toward Gang Rim. The two of them called out worriedly. Cell Gang Rim. The sound had just escaped their lips when it pulled the monster's attention back, so he immediately provoked it. Where do you think you are looking? A stream of fire shot straight at it as he shouted, you better not take your eyes off me. He leaped away from the explosion, glancing quickly to see where this monster came from, thinking, I have to buy more time. The other two had escaped outside, and Gozen shouted, Cell Gang Rim, I will never forget this sacrifice of yours. Wait. Let's go. He tried to calm his nerves, telling himself that he could definitely handle this. All he had to do was hold out just a little longer until the Destiny Protection Bureau arrived. Gangrim slammed face first onto the ground, shocked that his attack had barely put a scratch on the beast. The monster's mouth gaped wide open, emitting a terrifying glow from deep within. That sight sparked a sudden idea in his mind. That's it. What if he blinded the creature? He wondered what would happen if he threw a fireball straight down its gullet. The giant worm suddenly froze in place before collapsing heavily to the ground. Its blood-red eyes suddenly flashed with a menacing light. It was still moving, crawling relentlessly closer to close the distance between them. He thought to himself, I guess that didn't work. So what am I supposed to do now? Suddenly, a long wooden stake shot through the air and struck the beast right in the head. Sua rushed out clutching a bundle of wood and screamed for him to run, causing him to freeze in surprise. It was Shin Sua. Immediately after that, a whole swarm of giant worms came crashing toward them. She gritted her teeth and used the wooden stakes to form a barrier, trying desperately to hold them back. Gangrim shouted at her, Hurry up and use your wood leaf arts right now. She turned her head back and yelled, I can't do it. I need actual vegetation around here to make it work. He spoke rapidly. I am absolutely sure those pieces of wood you're holding will work just fine. It was only then that the realization finally hit her. She quickly placed the wooden stakes on the ground and commanded them to sprout. She poured all her strength into the spell, pushing her power to its absolute limit. Then, Those wooden trunks simultaneously shot forward, aiming straight for the giant worm. Both of them held their breath, waiting anxiously to see the result. Without wasting another second, she grabbed his hand and urged him to move. Suddenly, Sua's eyes went wide with pure shock. The giant worms were not dead yet, and now they were even more aggressive than before. They were crawling along the very branches she created, closing in on them fast. She fell to the ground in a panic, thinking that this was the end for them. She sobbed and blamed herself, saying she came here to save Gang Rim, but he interrupted her, saying that wood serves as fuel for fire. The system announced that the destinies of Seol Gang Rim and Shin Sua were now combining. She immediately stopped crying. The destiny of Shin Sua was transferring vitality to the destiny of Seol Gang Rim. He immediately unleashed his fire onto the branches, causing the flames to erupt violently. A system window popped up, stating that the Firebird power was evolving from Insect Level 3 to Insect Level 1. He panted heavily while scanning the battlefield, realizing that their powers were based on the 4 pillars of destiny. And that logic was being applied to this battle. Sweat poured down his face and his body felt exhausted, but his mind focused on one single thought. Wood gives life to fire. The worms were being incinerated by the intense heat. You have defeated the Level 1 giant worm, the system announced, processing continuously to calculate the achievements. Sua saw the victory and cheered happily, saying that they had actually done it. She anxiously asked Seol Gang Rim if he was okay, and he forced a smile, telling her that he was fine. You have received a bonus reward for defeating an opponent that was stronger than you. She helped him walk away from the scene, noting that this was the first floor and the exit should be safe, though he was suffering from anemia due to mana depletion. She placed her hand on the doorknob, relieved that they were finally going to escape. As soon as the door opened, a strong gust of wind immediately blasted inside. Behind the door, there was nothing but pitch-black darkness. Sua was completely terrified and asked where on earth they were. A green light envelops both of them, and judging by the surroundings, this building is definitely located in the center of Coma City. Gang Rim sharply notices the totem pole in the lobby, thinking to himself that he never expected the first floor to be connected to a place like this. The statue begins to emit a radiant light. Power. Ancient Artifact Pillar. Dragon Map System. Level 3. A totem pole containing the energy of suppression and perfection, which heals humans who come close to it and prevents monsters from approaching. The door disappears immediately, causing her to startle and exclaim, "The door is gone." She asks worriedly, "What are we going to do now?" But he calmly replies, "We are going to rest for now, since at least there are no monsters in here." Just then, Gozen steps out and asks, "You guys, how on earth are you still alive?" As soon as Sua sees him, she explodes with anger. He strokes his chin and says, "It is strange that heroine Zenua would leave my side, so that means..." She points her finger straight at him in a rage. "Heroine, my ass! You are a criminal and a villain who betrayed his friends. You did whatever it took just to save your own life." He freezes upon hearing that and stammers, "What did you say?" He clutches his head and denies it vehemently. "No, that is impossible. Well, it might be true, but I cannot possibly be a villain." Gang Rim cuts in to break the tension, thinking he is even worse than before. Then says, "Miss Sua, come over here." The people over there are still confused, asking, "Where are we right now? There were just monsters a moment ago." They pause in shock as their wounds gradually close up, gasping, "Huh, look at my wounds." Everyone frantically checks their phones. No service. They are all broken, and the crowd descends into chaos, asking, "Is it safe here?" Everyone turns pale, wondering if this is a trick. Nobody understands the situation or what is going on. Suddenly, a person appears on the platform. That person speaks up. It seems that all the members of this area are present now. Then she introduces herself solemnly. "I am Anna Vihasha from the Central Branch headquarters of the Fate Protection Agency." She sweeps her gaze across the room and says, "From now on I will." Her eyes glow brightly as she finishes, "Be managing everyone here." Everyone looks bewildered, asking, What is the Fate Protection Agency?" They immediately protest, "Manage us." What are you talking about? This is kidnapping. Let us go right now. What the hell is the meaning of this? Gangrim is different. He already knows all of this. Thinking, this is officially the beginning. I was a failure in my past life. He clenches his fist. But this time will be different. I will become the strongest I can be before leaving this place. The crowd is confused, asking, say what? What is the Fate Protection Agency? Anavihazia speaks up to explain. Our job is to protect citizens from the coming disaster. But everyone keeps screaming. Huh, manage us. What the hell are you saying? This is no different from kidnapping. Let us go immediately. The criticism comes in waves, with everyone asking what the hell is the meaning of this action. She ignores them and continues speaking. The demon realm will open in a few seconds, but they interrupt her, asking, "You guys released those insects earlier too, didn't you?" While she continues, the director's ability of prophecy. The atmosphere is extremely chaotic, people shouting, "Hey humanity, I will sue you people, let me out," while Gozen grinds his teeth. Then he cannot take it anymore and shouts, "Shut your mouths, you stupid bunch of extras." The whole crowd immediately turns to look at him. He sneers contemptuously. "Don't you see this is a rare opportunity? Being this stupid is why you will always be extras." While Gangrim thinks, he hasn't changed a bit, but he is right. He glances at him, thinking, being chosen to be here is indeed a privilege. Anna sighs. I think showing everyone the current situation outside will be faster. Everyone, please calm down and sit. She snaps her fingers. A screen pops up, showing a live broadcast from Seoul. A horrific massacre is happening outside, as gates to another dimension, the demon realm, have opened all across the country. The image of a giant monster is zoomed in. Monsters from the demon realm will pour out. The Fate Protection Agency prophesied this disaster, so a few years ago. We, the Chazia, showing a few people wearing masks similar to hers, fighting, who awakened their powers before everyone else. They used all kinds of abilities to destroy them and began preparing for this day. She spreads her arms. However, in this chaotic world, we need more awakened ones. We summoned you here because we believe your potential is superior among the unawakened. We will help you awaken and become stronger under the management of the Protection Agency. Anna pulls out a talisman and burns it, saying, "If you want, you can leave here. But please check what your power is first before deciding. When you do that, you might change your mind." The Fate window appears again. Name Gangrim, classification, insect class tier 3, attribute fire, power discovery, fate, steel, fate, fire, manipulation. Everyone was stunned. What is this? Is this my power? Human class tier 1. What the heck is that? As for Gangrim, he was already way too used to this. He was sure of one thing. I'm certain this isn't Anavihaja's power. I want to uncover Chajia's fate, but she's wearing a mask. Anna V continued to lead the group. You guys have seen my power. You can consider it a supernatural ability, or magic if you prefer. She spoke clearly. The awakened will use their powers to hunt monsters. She explained in great detail about attacking the demon realm to eliminate threats, but warned that this is an incredibly dangerous job when carrying out missions. Her voice turned cold as she affirmed, "You might actually die." Everyone's faces went pale looking at her. It's the same during training. If you want to avoid danger and stay under protection. Anna V emphasized, you must give up your power. Someone without the will to fight is not permitted to possess power. Then she clapped her hands. I will give you exactly 1 hour to think it over. The space began to blur. You can rest on the second floor. We will provide guidebooks, and you should read them. After 1 hour, those who want to stay, please return to this spot. Light descended upon everyone. Those who don't want to stay can leave through the emergency exit on the 3rd floor. Like I said, once you leave, you will never see your fate window again. Having said that, Anna V turned her back and walked away. See you later? She looked at her watch. Time is up. I will assume that everyone who returned here has agreed to join the training. A door slowly opened. This is the first stage. Everyone looked over in unison. The door radiated an air of mystery. A maximum of 3 people can enter at the same time. If you complete the challenge and step out of this gate, the trial ends here. She explained the rules. Each room has a different mission to clear the stage. You can check the requirements once you're inside. A hologram appeared describing the task. Eliminate monsters. 0 out of 6. Anna V continued. The first stage has no limit on the number of attempts. However, if you leave without completing the mission, you will have to start the task all over again from the beginning. Then she pulled out a small box. This is an item box provided for everyone. You just need to take one box and then proceed into the supply center. She introduced the items. If you get injured, you can use the healing items. Or return to the waiting room to use the healing totem. She gave a stern reminder. We want you to sign an agreement stating that the protection agency will not be responsible in the event of your death. Of course. We will try to support you as much as possible so the worst-case scenario doesn't happen. After speaking, she bowed her head. Good luck. The space suddenly fell dead silent. One person gathered all their courage and raised their hand. That person spoke up. Does anyone want to team up with me? My ability is Demon Class Tier 1. Gangrim quietly observed to see who would join. He silently separated from the crowd. My class is, he thought to himself. Just like a job fair, Sua called out after him. Mr. Seol Gangrim. She ran over, earlier at the building. She expressed her gratitude. Thank you so much. She scratched her head shyly. You don't have a group yet. Right, I don't either. Sua hesitated before suggesting. Do you want to go together with me? He remained standing still, looking at her. Mr. Seol Gangrim. He just stared at her without blinking. She became more and more confused. Gangrim pursed his lips tightly, his hands trembling. Thank you. Terrifying memories came flooding back. Only then. Could everyone survive? He clutched his head in despair. It's all my fault. Sua asked in panic, Are you not feeling well somewhere? He covered his face and pushed her away. I'm fine. As soon as he finished speaking, he turned his back immediately. I refuse. He still glanced back at her one more time. Gangrim intentionally added, Going alone will make me feel more comfortable. She looked visibly sad after hearing that. I understand. I just thought that Gangrim and I worked pretty well together, he reassured her. Shinua, you'll do great teaming up with other people. She looked like she had regained her strength. Then she shouted out loud, Gangrim, even if we can't hunt together, I still want us to look out for each other. He didn't turn his head and just kept walking straight. Yeah. A sign was placed in the corner listing the contents. Training sword, HP recovery potion, and mana recovery potion. Gangrim slowly opened the supply box he was given. His equipment appeared immediately. Training sword, rank, insect class tier 1, HP recovery potion times 2, mana recovery potion times 2. He strapped the sword to his waist. It's hard to find items in the early stages, so being a trainee isn't bad at all. HP recovery potions are very expensive, yet they keep restocking them for trainees. Gozen waved his hand and called out, Gangrim, wait up. He grinned brightly. You shouldn't leave your only companion behind like that. He froze for a second. I didn't encounter this scene in my past life. I'll just pretend I didn't hear him. He ran up and patted him on the shoulder. Gangrim. Wait a minute, he replied. What is it? He made a suggestion. If things keep going like this, the two of us will be the main characters of this story. So, let's clear the first stage together. Okay. Gangrim shook his head decisively. I prefer going alone, the other guy insisted. Don't worry, I'm different from those side characters who just drag everyone down. Doc Gozen confidently brushed his hair back. I'm strong. You know, I am the main character. Main character. Side character, and extras. Doc Gozen classified everyone as if they were characters in a novel. He recalled the past. Main character. In my previous life, he treated me like a mediocre extra. He guessed that the guy was misunderstanding him and thinking he was strong. He rubbed his chin, calculating. Having a strong companion would make things less tiring. Shinua is very strong, but she gets bad luck when she's near me, so I didn't want her to tag along. But what about Doc Gozen? He continued his train of thought. It wouldn't really matter if something happened to Doc Gozen. Right, Gozen spoke up. What are you thinking about? "Have you changed your mind yet?" He replied, "All right, let's go together." The other guy was surprised, really. He immediately ran back to where he was before to grab his box. "Wait for me a second. I need to go get my supply box." Gozen snatched the box right out of the mascot's hands. "This is Supply Box A. I'd love to chat more with a mascot like you, but let's talk later." "Okay." Sua looked at him with total annoyance. "Why are you looking at me like that?" He mocked her. "Is it because you're not the main character?" She just remained silent. Then he called out excitedly, "Cell Gang Rim, I got it. Let's go." The door began to glow. He could clearly smell the scent of death. He sensed the presence of the metal demons. Both of them pushed the door open and walked in. Cell Gang Rim and Doc Gozen have entered. You have entered the Underworld Blade Mountain. The rules of the game appeared. All rooms are connected to 4 corridors. Each room and corridor will contain monsters, traps, and safe zones. Find the exit and escape. The system announced, "First stage, Underworld Agony, start." Gang Rim repeated the objective. So the mission to clear the stage is to find the exit. Gozen was excited. "Great, let's get started." He scanned the area with his eyes. "I want to know if the structure is the same as in my past life." So, this path. He was giddy with excitement. Monsters and traps, huh? I wonder what's going to show up. He didn't even bother paying attention to his surroundings. I'm looking forward to it. A blade shot straight up from the ground, knocking him off his feet. Gozen wasn't scared at all. He actually looked a bit amused. So this is a trap. That's nothing new. He grinned from ear to ear. But I do like classic stuff like this. He pushed himself up with his hands. "Hey, Cell Gang Rim, let's get moving." Torches were lit all along the walls. He clicked his tongue in admiration. "No more traps now." "Huh, it seems you're really lucky. Cell Gang Rim." He immediately denied it. "No, I have terrible luck." The two of them talked as they walked. "Huh, I think I heard something. You already distributed your experience points." "Right. Yeah, I did that while reading the guidebook." A group of demons had gathered up ahead. Bone demons. Rank: Tier 3, Insect Class. These monsters are constructed entirely from human bones. They have a craving for human flesh and blood. Their hearing isn't very sharp, and they are sensitive to light. Gozen tightened his stance. "They look stronger than just insects, don't they? After some training, they might become even more powerful." He looked back. "There's a lot of them. But if we work together?" Gang Rim shot fire straight toward them. One bone demon burned to ash, and the rest of them turned to look at the two men in unison. Then they lined up and retreated. The entrance was quite small. If they gathered here, they wouldn't have a way out. He exclaimed, "Cell Gang Rim, you really are a smart character, aren't you?" He drew his sword. "If you keep spouting nonsense like that, just go back." Both of them rushed into battle, fighting against the bone demons. Gang Rim drove the tip of his sword deep into the wall. He used the leverage to vault himself upward. Then he struck straight down onto the bone demon's head. Gozen charged forward aggressively. "I won't let you take the lead role all by yourself." The two of them worked together to wipe them out. He raised his sword high in excitement. That fight felt amazing. A while later, the bone demons were cleared out. "Cell Gang Rim, every room we go into has these things." He grumbled. "It's getting boring now." "I think we've killed over 100 of them," Gang Rim asked. "Are you tired already?" He sheathed his sword. "Not really. These monsters aren't that strong. I learned how to fight with a sword just in case I suddenly got isekai'd or transmigrated into a book." He looked at him. "Hey, Cell Gang Rim, honestly speaking, ever since I first saw you, I've always been curious about one thing." Gang Rim looked at him coldly. "What is it?" He leaned close to his ear and whispered, "Maybe you are a regressor, a reincarnator, a dimension traveler, or something like that." Gang Rim froze, his heart skipping a beat. He warned, "If you keep talking nonsense like that, go do it somewhere else." Gozen smiled brightly. "I think I guessed right, didn't I?" He pushed Gozun's back. "Stop wasting time and let's go." "You go first." Gozen continued to tease him. "I'm not joking. You know you're very unique." "Right." Gozen continued. "You are always strangely calm. You adapt incredibly fast, and you aren't afraid of monsters at all." He avoided Gozun's gaze and made up a random excuse. When I was young, I used to see ghosts and demons. So, I'm used to it." His eyes widened. "Huh, really? Then I'm super curious about your past now." He just opened his mouth to say, "Tell me about it," when he was shoved hard from behind. The floor cracked open, and Gang Rim fell down with the momentum. He started in shock. "Sell Gang Rim." Gang Rim shouted sternly, "Run, now!" Gozen hurriedly rushed outside. He looked back at the chaotic scene inside. He showed a worried expression. "Sell Gang Rim." But then, he turned away coldly. Isn't he the main character? He left the area. I like stories with a regression plot. That fall wasn't exactly bad luck. I wonder how the story will unfold now. Elsewhere, Gang Rim fell into a mysterious dark zone. He drew his sword and held a defensive stance. Then he stabbed his sword into the wall. Thanks to that, he landed safely. The system announced, "You have entered a secret area." The corners of his mouth curled up. Warning. Monsters in the secret area are more powerful than in normal areas. Gang Rim scanned the area, realizing that every single path was riddled with traps or teeming with monsters he would have to deal with. The path leading to the common area had already been triggered, meaning once he turned back, the secret passage would be sealed off for good. He marched straight ahead while the system nagged him about requesting a rescue or giving up, with a countdown of 2 minutes and 58 seconds. But there was no way in hell he was quitting now. A massive horde of skeleton demons was huddled together, which meant he might actually rack up way more stat points than he initially calculated. He conjured a flame and thought about how grateful he was to tag along with Doc Gozen to access these monster-filled rooms, but he needed a chance to grow on his own. Though Jinhua would probably be a whole different story. Then he raised his hand high in the air, gathering his energy and aiming it right at the heart of the mob. The skeleton demons shrieked and lunged at him all at once in a chaotic wave of bones. Gang Rim didn't flinch as he systematically cut them down, taking out one demon after another. Your stats have increased by 10 points. Bones lay scattered everywhere as the system announced his strength had hit stage 4 after applying his points. And once the area was completely cleared, his strength jumped again to stage 5. He gripped his sword and stepped over the debris, realizing that boosting his stats early made everything feel lighter, and he honestly couldn't believe he had farmed that many points. System update for Gang Rim. Strength stage 5, Stamina stage 4, Agility stage 4, Sense stage 4, Magic stage 3. He rubbed his chin, wondering how strong the others would be, since no matter what their base stats were, everyone had to start from stage 1. Gang Rim analyzed the situation, knowing that the real difference between each stage was simply the time and effort required to reach the next level. A cute little illustration even popped up on the screen whenever he gained the corresponding amount of experience. Your growth rate would obviously be much faster if you belonged to a higher tier class. He figured that a God class user like Doc Gozen would grow faster and stronger, and since he dragged the guy along, Gozen was definitely way more powerful than before, whereas in his past life, it took him 3 days. Just as the system congratulated him for being the first to clear the Blade Mountain hell, Gang Rim searched around, determined to claim the first clear reward this time, and his eyes lit up when he found exactly what he was looking for. He calmly reached out his hand to interact with the object. He crossed his arms and told himself that he absolutely had to finish everything before the day was over. Stretching out in front of him was a long, dark tunnel that seemed to go on forever. It looked like it was finally time to face the boss of this dungeon. He looked up and observed his surroundings, noting that this area was clearly different from all the previous zones. A single drop of sweat slid down his cheek as the realization hit him that he was truly standing in the Blade Mountain hell. Gang Rim summoned a flame to light up the dark path ahead. Eerie red and blue lights intertwined and danced around the sharp blades. 2 monsters suddenly appeared, a husband and wife duo. They were the generals of the Blade Mountain hell. Humanoid type, rank 3. They were masters of swordsmanship who moved in perfect unison. And unless he killed both of them at the exact same time, they would keep regenerating. He hid behind a door, realizing that seeing the general couple up close like this was a completely different experience than he expected. His body started trembling uncontrollably, and he cursed under his breath, telling himself to stop shaking. The general couple had already spotted him. He readied himself, confident that he could take them down if he stuck to his plan perfectly. One of them thrust a sword straight toward his chest. Gangrim immediately countered the attack, showing he wasn't going to be pushed around. The creature let out a scream of pure agony. Gangrim seized the moment to retreat, knowing they would hunt him down first. He knew he at least had to draw their attention away. He glanced back to track their movements, figuring that since their affinity was metal, his fire-based attacks would be super effective. He calculated his next move carefully, hoping to buy a little more time with that attack. Blood sprayed everywhere as the other general suddenly decapitated its partner. The system popped up with an explanation, reminding him that unless they were destroyed simultaneously, they would just keep recovering. He stood there in shock, realizing they were killing each other to trigger their recovery, which was a twist he definitely didn't see coming. Gangrim gripped his sword hilt tight. Charging in head-on would just be a waste of energy. Your speed has increased to level 7 after using your stat points. Multiple blades whizzed past, slicing his hand and cheek. He gritted his teeth and kept running. I'm almost there. Suddenly, he stepped on a fragment of demon bone. He lost his footing and slipped. Those two blocked his path right in front of him. He managed to unleash 2 consecutive waves of fire. The one who got hit earlier used the same tactic to save its teammate. They chased him frantically. The general couple is recovering. Gangrim rejoiced inwardly. Perfect. I can hear the wind now. He put everything he had into speeding up. It slithered right after him, refusing to give up. The system updated continuously. The fake general couple is recovering. 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 The fake general couple bared their terrifying fangs. The system continued. Your strength has increased to level 7 after using your stat points. He launched a kick straight at it. Then he jumped up and struck again, making it drop its sword. He shouted, "Get in there." As soon as he said it, the creature was defeated. A system message appeared. Classification Grade 3. General couple has been defeated. Your rewards are being calculated. Gangrim collapsed onto the ground, exhausted. You have received additional stat points for defeating an enemy stronger than you. He wiped the sweat from his brow. The priority is to escape the insects, and I've already cleared the stage. But before that, he made up his mind. There's one thing I need to confirm. An idea struck him. If a monster's fate is to take on human form, shouldn't I be able to steal that fate? He knelt on one knee. The ability Steal Fate has been activated. There are currently 2 corpses within activation range. Gangrim laughed in excitement. I knew it. Just like the monsters, a human like me can also steal fate. Memories of his past life came flooding back. In the past. The reason I didn't use Steal Fate before I met Baek Yang was because I didn't want to. Or, to put it bluntly, I couldn't do it. The ability Steal Fate has been cancelled due to insufficient mana. Du Hyun rubbed the back of his neck. Are you sure you can't do it? I've only been dead for 3 hours. He replied helplessly. I'm sorry. There's a restriction. The longer the target has been dead, the more mana it costs. And with my lousy magic level, the death of his teammate replayed in his mind. They have to die right in front of me. Otherwise I can't activate that skill. Gangrim felt conflicted. That was when I asked myself if I should steal the fate of humans, just like the monsters do. He continued his train of thought. But back then, I couldn't even withstand the powerful aura from the demon realm. He looked disappointed. I never had the chance to try. He slowly drew his sword. You have stolen a portion of the opponent's power. You have stolen the ability Weaken. Ability. Stability. Class. Grade 3. Demon. Skill activated when the sword is unsheathed. When using the sword, the swordsman can improve their rank to a minimum degree. Gangrim swung the sword. Let's see what this can do. He touched the sword with excitement, feeling as if the blade was glowing. The system turned a bright red. Warning, you have received a massive amount of karma points. He thought to himself, this works. instead of stealing it directly from people. The karma I absorb from their destiny will be minimized. He clenched his fist. More importantly, this is a well-deserved result. He stepped back into that corridor filled with blades. When humans accumulate too much bad karma, they cross a boundary, and people call that place the Sea of Suffering. Gangrim placed his hand on the wall in front of him. I wonder, how much more until I cross that boundary? He officially exited. The first gate, the Hell of Blade Mountains, was cleared for the first time. Target, Cell Gang Rim, the sole survivor. Everyone stared in shock when they saw him. It's already been cleared. The atmosphere instantly turned chaotic. Did he really clear it all by himself? A familiar voice called out, Cell Gang Rim. That shout made his face go pale. Gozen ran over with open arms, brimming with excitement. I knew you could do it. That's exactly why you're my ally. He lunged to hug him but missed. You're even faster than last time. Huh. Gangrim crossed his arms and brushed him off. I am not your ally. Don't put your trust in me. Anna V stepped forward. Mr. Cellgang Rim. She spoke politely. Congratulations on being the first to complete this stage. Would you mind sparing a moment? At the training facility, inside Cellgang Rim's private room, Gang Rim looked happily at his loot. It seemed the reward for the first clear was handed over by Anna V. The item storage bag, used to store items with no limit on weight or volume. He strapped the bag to his waist. Storage bags are incredibly hard to come by. I couldn't let this opportunity slip away. He took out a card and entered the password into his phone. When I think about its owner, I don't want to draw attention from the Destiny Protection Force. It was another bonus reward. The news was flashing urgent reports. A magnitude 5.8 earthquake has shaken the entire country, the strongest quake since 2017. The damage is catastrophic, causing countless casualties, with aftershocks worsening the situation. Authorities conclude the death toll is still rising. Gangrim wondered. No response from the Destiny Protection Force. The comment section was blowing up too. I heard something weird before the quake. Something about stats. Anyone else? Me too. In the video, it looks like the Protection Force is teaching us something. Link to the video, please. A girl appeared on screen. It was Selman Ioniu, captain of the 1st Division of the Protection Force, delivering an official statement. She smiled gently. To protect ordinary citizens. Our Protection Force has been doing our very best. He activated his ability again. Destiny. Steel ability activated. He received a report back. Target's destiny is currently under protection. Gangrim clicked his tongue in frustration. Looks like they have an item to shield it. The voice from the phone continued steadily. These operations are ongoing. Please do not worry. We, the Destiny Protection Force, will safeguard your future. The corners of her mouth curled up. Please, trust in the Destiny Protection Force. He lay on his bed, deep in thought. Trust the Destiny Protection Force. That's what they say. He sank into contemplation. The Destiny Protection Agency is an organization gathering the strongest awakeners. All members of this force hide their faces behind masks. A familiar silhouette from his past life appeared in his mind. He formed a hypothesis. If that woman is a member of the association, his expression darkened. That explains why I couldn't assess her power. Gangrim held his head. I can't talk about this right now. Gongju slammed a stack of documents onto the table. Is this how you do your job? He exploded with rage, shouting directly at them. Didn't you say this stage would take at least a week to clear? Gongju, Destiny Protection Association Alliance, Captain, Division 2, Seoul. The whole group bowed their heads, holding their breath. But look at this now. They cleared the entire secret zone in just one day. And yet you morons reported their destiny level and skills were just 3-star insect trash. He pointed straight at Du Sung-tae, making him flinch. Yes, sir. He barked out orders, furious enough to write the notice himself. Fix this. Clear out all the traps Cell Gangrim set up, and the rest of you. Get ready to sweep the remaining monsters. The meeting concluded. Dismissed. Everyone put their masks back on. Understood. Sung-tae rubbed his forehead helplessly. Sitting alone in the dark room, he wondered, how did he manage to lure all those monsters into the traps? His face went dark. He even cleared the second gate in just one day. He buried his head in his work, typing furiously. Sungdi couldn't hide his fear, terrified of what would happen if the higher-ups found out the gate cleaner was just an insect class nobody. It was impossible. At the cafe in training facility number 1, Gozan asked, "Cell Gang Rim, are you planning to go to room number 2 today?" He struck up a conversation with a bright smile, asking if he still remembered their little bet. A heated exchange broke out between the two, with him asking if he didn't trust his skills and challenging him to see who would clear room number 2 first. He teased that if he didn't try, he would end up clearing room number 2 before him. Gang Rim replied coldly, saying he would do things his own way so he could do whatever he wanted, adding that they weren't allies until he won, and telling him to get lost. He laughed mockingly, refusing to leave and saying he actually wanted to get closer to him. Just then, Sua's group walked by, with someone saying they survived thanks to her. She humbly denied it, saying it was all thanks to him blocking the attack, while someone else in the group chimed in, suggesting they should go in next time. Seeing that, he breathed a sigh of relief, noting that Zinua seemed to be doing fine. Gozan also glanced over at her, telling Cell Gang Rim that he hated people who were too nice. He threw a piece of cake at his head, telling him to beat it, while the group of girls continued laughing and agreed to go eat together. Those words drifted straight into his ears, hearing someone exclaim how small and cute her hands were, while she awkwardly denied it. Gang Rim frowned and turned around. John Gunam held out his hand, asking if she wanted to compare sizes, while he thought to himself that he would have to endure this again. He laughed gleefully, pointing out that her hands were indeed small, while the girl was startled and admitted he was right. He started his spiel, claiming he actually knew how to read palm lines, while the girl next to her chimed in that he had read hers last time and was very accurate. Sua just stared intently at the cup of hot water in her hands, ignoring them completely. Gunam actively called out to Shinua, asking to see her hand, but she politely refused, saying she didn't need it. He still deliberately scooted closer. He touched his hand to hers. He insisted, saying opportunities like this didn't come often and he might change his mind later. Telling Sua he was serious, she stammered and pulled her hand back, and right at that moment, Gang Rim's hand slammed onto the table. She froze, looking up at him. He was visibly annoyed at being interrupted, but he immediately plastered his smile back on. Gunam offered, asking if Cell Gang Rim wanted his palm read too, but he flatly refused. He reached his hand out towards Sua, telling her he had something to discuss with her. He pointed behind him, asking if that was okay. She paused for a few seconds, then nodded, saying yes? Of course. Gang Rim left with Sua, saying he wanted to talk somewhere more private, and she agreed. Suddenly, 2 people walked up, greeting Cell Gang Rim. They smiled brightly, thanking him for letting them use the Wi-Fi. The password note was taped to the wall after he managed to solo clear the Hellblade Mountain Room and shared the Wi-Fi, which was part of the reward. He looked at them silently as everyone suddenly acted friendly, asking him to join them next time. But this kind of friendliness made him uncomfortable. His face darkened, as he wasn't used to that. Memories of his past life flooded back, recalling how they used to avoid and chase him away at times like this, saying they wouldn't go if Cell Gang Rim was there. He bowed his head timidly, saying he would leave so as not to bother everyone since his rank was too low. Gang Rim isolated himself from the crowd. Only Gunam still smiled at him, asking if he was okay going alone today, and he replied, yes. He remembered that even back then, John Gunam treated him differently, patting his shoulder and saying he would have let him join if there was space in the group, telling him to be careful, to which he forced a smile and said it was fine. Back then, they used to be very close, even after knowing his ability, saying it was great and high-fiving. His hand emitted a strange light. He glanced at the destiny window with a calculating look, something he never could have imagined. One day, he walked down the hall and heard them whispering. I almost died going to the demon realm with Cell Gang Rim. Is something wrong with Gang Rim? His ability is stealing skills from the dead. Vicious rumors spread fast, You mean he plans to kill someone and steal their skills? That's right. You'd better be careful, too. He gritted his teeth, not daring to show his face. This is insane. Then he barged into Gunam's room. You promised you wouldn't tell anyone. The guy played dumb. What? I don't understand what you're talking about. He pressed on. You revealed my ability to everyone. The guy replied with a stone face. Do you have any proof? Gangrim was stunned. What? Obviously you did it, you scumbag. He gave a faint smile. You don't, do you? Palm reading. Ghost class rank 3. You have to compare your palm with the targets to check their destiny window. He tilted his head. You're the only one who knows about my ability. Back to the present. Because John Gunam has that ability, you should stay away from him. Don't let him see your hands or touch them. Sua heard this and sighed, so that's why he kept. He turned away immediately. Anyway, I just wanted to warn you. I'm off. She reached out and called. Cell Gang Rim, she said quickly. I've also completed the trial in the Underworld Blade Mountain room. She placed her hand on her chest, suggesting, do you want to tackle the second room together? Gangrim shook his head. It's still too hard for you, Sua. She looked flustered. Why is it too hard for me? He avoided her gaze. Right now, you're severely lacking in combat experience. Sua stood frozen after hearing that. She forced a smile. I don't think I'm that weak, he continued. But your ability will be weaker in the next room because it has the fire attribute. He spoke clearly. Golden energy will suppress Sua's wood destiny. That room isn't right for you because the metal element counters your wood element. The wood leaf method won't be useful this time. Finished speaking. He turned away. I'm sure you understand what I mean. She rubbed her chin in thought. The second room is clearly disadvantageous for me. He grabbed the doorknob. You get it. Right, she replied. Yeah, to a certain extent. Sua gently touched his shoulder. Cell Gang Rim. His pace suddenly quickened. He walked alone, his heart heavy. Why? He pursed his lips, still conflicted even after saying all that. She smiled radiantly. Thanks for the advice. She pushed the door, about to step inside. Sua suddenly remembered what he had said. I prefer being alone. She was confused. He rejected me but still went with Doc Gozen, she told herself. Maybe he wants to keep some distance between us. But there was still something strange. He pulled me aside just to talk about John Gunam's ability. Sua pondered. He could have totally rejected teaming up with a different reason. She watched his retreating back through the glass. So why did he tell me the truth like that? Or maybe he's worried about me. A voice called out, Cell Gang Rim. Gunam leaned against the wall and asked, Are you planning to go to the second room with Sua? Gang Rim shoved his hands into his pockets. No, I'm going alone. Then he walked straight up the stairs. I have to deal with this bastard before he harms me. The guy blocked his path. Wait a minute. Do you want to team up with me? He poured on the charm. It'll be better for you since I'm in a higher class. I'm in the dragon class. He felt a chill, and killing intent rose within him. Liar, what is your ability? Destiny Discovery ability has been activated. He showed off a trick for him to see. Water bomb. I can shoot extremely powerful water bullets. But his destiny window was already in his hands. John Gunam, human class rank 1. Water attribute. He cut him off. All right. Gangrim nodded and said, Let's get moving. We are good to go. Which made the other guy stare wide-eyed and ask, Really? He grinned from ear to ear and said, I will get ready and head down right away. Gangrim remained silent, secretly glancing back at him as he walked away. He let out a quiet breath and thought, It is a good thing he approached me first. Over at the second training area, inside the chamber of hellfire, the door flashed with light, displaying the clear condition. Find the ice crystal and return to the lobby, with no time limit. A system window popped up to confirm that Cell Gang Rim and John Gunam had entered. Gunam froze as he looked at the scenery around him, then blurted out, This does not look much like hell. The system announced, You have entered the chamber of hellfire. Suddenly, flames erupted on all 4 sides, bathing everything in a fiery glow. He confidently boasted, I did not expect you to agree to come with me so easily, but I guess it is because my water attribute is perfect for this room. As both of them moved forward, he asked, Anyway, did you see the clear condition? He wondered aloud, is there really ice in a place like this? Gunam frowned and conjured a water ball, saying, it is too hot in here. How the hell are we supposed to find ice? Gangrim's gaze sharpened as he said, but since I am with you, we will find it soon enough. Right. He raised his sword high. He stared intently at the other guy. Gunam flinched and spun around. The system appeared, stating, ability activated, unsheath. Blood immediately splattered into the air. A fire frog had just been sliced in two, leaving Gunam frozen in fear. He mumbled, I did not expect to run into monsters right at the start. Cell gang, they are coming. Then he startled and said, huh, what? Immediately after, a whole swarm of fire frogs rushed toward them. They stuck out their tongues fiercely, leaping around as if they were stalking their prey. Fire frog, a rank 3 insect class monster born during the hottest spring. Their attack power is weak, but they travel in packs, hunting creatures that are not as hot as they are. Gunam smirked with disdain and said, these frogs are going to be a piece of cake. He waved his hand and shot out several streams of water. The water beams pierced straight through the bodies of the monsters. One by one, they fell down, collapsing in rapid succession. Seeing this, he felt smug and said, excellent. My power is really effective here. He turned to Gangrim and said, it will be easier if we can find the ice crystal. To which Gangrim replied, that is the only way. Gangrim remained calm, thinking, I already know where it is, so there is no need to rush. But now, how should I deal with him? Gunam suddenly froze when he saw Gangrim smile, thinking, huh, is that guy smiling? Gunam crossed his arms and thought to himself, does he realize that teaming up with me for this stage was a good choice? The fire frogs were piled on top of each other, their bodies scattered everywhere. He held his head in exhaustion and said, is this what people call mana depletion? The monsters here are way more numerous than in the Mountain of Blades. Gangrim continued fighting, while Gunam collapsed onto the ground. I am out of options. I have to use my sword to fight. No sooner thought than done. He drew his sword, just like Cell Gangrim. A fire frog immediately locked onto him as its target. He got pinned down by it and started screaming, it is too hot. Get away from me. Cell Gangrim. Cell Gangrim. He struggled violently and yelled, why are you just standing there watching me? Causing Gangrim to sigh helplessly. Then Gangrim stepped in to help him destroy the fire frog and said, go back if you cannot keep going. He stated firmly, I can wipe them out by myself. Gunam struggled to sit up and stammered, I will be fine if I just rest for a bit. But Gangrim coldly turned his back and said, suit yourself. He gritted his teeth in anger, thinking, that arrogant bastard. Does he think he is everything just because he wiped out the monsters here? He slowly stood up, thinking, I teamed up with him to analyze his class and combat abilities, but I cannot check him with my skill because his hand is bandaged. The more he thought, the more curious he became. Just watching what he shows is not enough. Clearly, he is hiding something. He narrowed his eyes, thinking, I have to inspect him more closely. He is bound to slip up eventually, and I will wait for that exact moment. Gunam plopped down on a nearby rock, but the rock suddenly opened two glowing eyes. He was ambushed instantly. He fell backward onto the ground. The monster slowly revealed its face, and he screamed, Cell Gangrim. Gunam saw it and immediately flinched in terror. Gangrim managed to save him once again, just in time. He was stunned, thinking, turns out there are other monsters besides the XA pack. I was so lost in thought that I let my guard down. The man called out, John Gunam, making him startle and look up, saying, yes. He glanced over at him and said, right now, I have already saved you 2 times. He stabbed one more time to finish off that monster, saying, these monsters are really hard to kill, so move it before a few more show up. Come on. He forced a smile, thinking, did he intentionally mention that he helped me escape just to rub it in? Fine then. Gunam clenched the dirt in his hand, thinking, don't think you are so tough, you bastard. He thought resentfully, just wait until my mana recovers. I will take down these monsters as easily as flipping my hand. Gangrim suddenly turned back and asked, do you have something you want to say? He squeezed out a fake smile and said, "Thank you for helping me, Cell Gang Rim." The scene changed, and Gunam pointed at a sphere, asking, "Is there something over there?" He recognized it as soon as he looked, thinking. That is, while Gunam got excited, "Is that an ice crystal?" The sphere was sparkling and glowing brightly. He grinned widely, saying, "It really is the crystal. We just need to bring it back to the lobby to pass this trial stage." Right. He calculated quickly, thinking, "Are we the only ones here? Then I guess we are the first people to complete this challenge." Then he suddenly thought, "No. When we get back to the training center, everyone will think I passed the stage just because I tagged along with Cell Gang Rim." Gang Rim was about to say something, John Gunam, that is, but he had already dashed away. He ran headfirst straight toward it, thinking, if there is only one ice crystal, then whoever grabs it first will be the first to complete this room's challenge. He was absolutely convinced that victory was already in his hands. Gunam thought about all sorts of things, like the rewards. He sank into a delusion of honor, respect, and admiration. He reached out to grab it, thinking, all of this will be mine, just a little bit more to touch the sphere. Thinking, I am the first one to complete the challenge, but as soon as he grabbed it, the sphere went squishy and soft. He froze in shock, thinking, is this a sponge? Firefrog egg sac, rank 3 insect class, a bag containing countless firefrog eggs, and there are always firefrogs nearby. Immediately, countless firefrogs popped up. They rushed forward to completely surround him. He was shoved hard by them, stumbled, and then fell down, screaming in panic, Cell Gang Rim. He looked at him coldly, saying, that is karma for trying to stab me in the back. Gunam cursed and screamed at the same time, save me, Cell Gang Rim. Hey, Cell Gang Rim, you piece of trash, make them stop. The scene shifted deep into the Crystal Tunnel Inferno room. Gang Rim casually lifted up a block of ice. Ice crystal, type. Level 1, monster. A crystal made of ice. Owning it will increase the water element. He sat down on the ground and opened the store window. The system panel popped up, and the condition to open the store was owning a spirit jade. At first, he didn't even know the store or the spirit jade existed. He recalled the battle with the giant June earlier. He had sliced its body in two. After that, he picked up a few gems, but this time he was able to open the store because he had obtained a few spirit jades before arriving. Gang Rim clicked on a slot. You have purchased an item, the wish chest. The item appeared immediately. Wow. He had to exchange achievement points because he didn't have enough money. Wish chest. Type, Phantom Grade 1. If you put in an item and pray, you will receive the desired item, but if the offering isn't enough, you won't get anything. He opened the lid and dropped a block of ice in. What a funny name. In the end, they just want us to put in something rare and expensive. He closed his eyes and clasped his hands together. The crystal ice is a grade 3 phantom item. He thought to himself, what I want is a higher grade phantom item. You are praying. A somewhat unusual light burst out, but since both are of the phantom type, it can still be used. Gang Rim's eyes went wide as he watched. The thing that fell out made him disappointed. You have received insect type grade 3. Insect honey. He casually slashed at it right away. A few more blocks of ice shattered into pieces. He just gathered them all up. Fine, if I can't win with quality, I'll go with quantity. With this much ice, there's no way I won't hit the jackpot. I'll keep trying until I get exactly what I want. A tooth was thrown onto the ground with a thud. Gunam was heavily burned. Sayo Gang Rim, that piece of trash. He dragged his exhausted body along. You think you can just leave me here alone and get away with it? Just wait until I find you, he muttered. I'm going to stab that arrogant face with this sword. Then, something glowing caught his eye. Huh, what is that? An egg. His eyes widened. No, that is... The door slowly opened. Gunam cheerfully hugged the firefrog as he opened the door and stepped out. The second door led to, the Inferno room is complete. I did it. I'm the first one to clear the stage. Opponent, John Gunam. Everyone gasped in admiration. Brother Gunam, you've already finished this stage. That's amazing, and in just one day. He grinned from ear to ear. Yes, this is it. This is the reaction I was waiting for. Now that I have this, I'm way better than that idiot Seo Gang Rim. His face darkened as he approached him. Seo Gang Rim, so this is where you were, he scolded. How could you run off by yourself? I waited for you for a long time. He looked awkward. About that, his face went cold. About you leaving me behind alone. Anavi appeared and cut in. John Gunam, the first person to complete the Inferno room. Gunam smiled brightly and waved his hand. Yes, I am here. He held out his hand. I will forgive you just this once. We should shake hands and make up. Right. Gang Rim had already guessed his intentions beforehand, but he still reached out to shake it. Activate ability. Palm reading. He squeezed his hand tightly. Don't be so scared. Reading the opponent's fate. SEO Gang Rim. Gunam was excited when he saw his fate window. Being the first to clear the stage and seeing the pitiful look on that bastard's face makes me feel so good. SEO Gang Rim. Type. Insect Grade 3. Element. Fire. Fire control. Type. Insect Grade 3. Shell shedding. Type. Human Grade 1. After reading it, he was startled and spun around. He is an insect type Grade 3. I thought he was a human type? He frowned in annoyance. I went through all that trouble just to make friends with an insect-type guy. Gang Rim looked at him uneasily, but then he relaxed. He placed his hand on his chest. Luckily, I managed to use this thing in time. A talisman appeared. Protective Talisman. Type. Phantom Grade 1. It protects a part of the fate in the fate window so that others cannot read it. He recalled that he couldn't exchange for many other things because the crystal ice ran out after opening this talisman. But it seems he found one of the crystal ices that he had stuffed inside the fire frog. Gunam beamed with pride and boasted, I'm a water attribute user, and I have the ability to. But Anna Vihasia cut right to the chase, interrupting him. Can you just tell me how you found the ice crystal? Gozen couldn't hide his curiosity, thinking. Even Selgang Rim came out looking exhausted, yet this guy managed to clear that room's trial in just a single day. Having gathered enough information, she turned to leave, saying, Thank you for your cooperation. He grinned brightly, replying, Of course, then. The other man called out to him, Hey, John Gunam. He praised him. You're actually pretty amazing. Gunam glanced back and recognized him. Doc Gozen. Isn't he a level 3 divine attribute user? He clicked his tongue in frustration. I tried that room a few days ago but kept failing over and over, and honestly, Selgang Rim seems a lot weaker than I imagined. Gunam immediately played along, saying, He's just a level 3 insect attribute user. So, of course he's weak. The other man looked surprised. Really? Gunam added fuel to the fire. Yeah. He even ran away by himself just because of a few monsters. He beamed with excitement and complimented him. Wow. Then you're much more like a main character than he is. Hearing the flattery, he lifted his chin arrogantly. Well, you're not wrong about that, the other man continued. Right? Hey, should we keep chatting about this somewhere else? Gang Rim watched with satisfaction, seeing that the fates of Doc Gozen and John Gunam were now tightly intertwined. He quietly slipped away, knowing that Doc Gozen wouldn't be able to pay any attention to him for the time being. It was the worst possible combination of fates, and dark energy was already creeping into John Gunam's destiny. He had calculated it all perfectly. That guy would take care of John Gunam for him. Everything was going even smoother than he had expected. The scene shifted to a dimly lit room, where the CO2 team was holding an emergency meeting. Gongju asked, Anna V, is John Gunam about to ascend to the ghost attribute? Anna V shook her head. No, he is still a human attribute user. He continued asking, Did anyone go with him? She replied immediately. It was the trainee, Selgang Rim. Dusung Tae was startled, so it was him, after all. He rested his chin on his hand, calculating. He went with that guy. But John Gunam was the one who completed the first trial. That is truly strange. She tilted her head and confirmed. Yes, that's correct. Then she added, but trainee John Goonham mentioned something quite odd. He said he killed a fire frog and discovered that one of them had swallowed an ice crystal. He looked suspicious. But aren't monsters unable to get near the crystal cave? We set up a magic barrier there. Didn't we? She replied. I just checked it again a moment ago. The image of the second stage appeared on the screen. The magic barrier had vanished, and the monsters had devoured all the ice crystals. Gongju flew into a rage the moment he saw it. He shouted, "Du Sung Tae, what kind of work is this?" The younger man hurriedly defended himself. No, I checked it multiple times. There definitely wasn't any problem before. He stammered an explanation. Besides, clearing the stage was faster than expected, which proves we have some very potential trainees. Gongju slammed his hand violently onto the table. His face darkened as he growled, "Du Sung Tae, do you dare to take responsibility for those words?" He narrowed his eyes. "Are you sure the plan has no flaws? And with these so-called potential trainees, can they actually make it to the third floor?" The younger man choked on his words. Well, about that. He couldn't speak and hung his head low. Gongju continued, "Do you dare to take responsibility if every single one of them dies?" Gongju's voice became heavy and serious. "From the third gate onwards, it is the true demon realm. If they enter without proper preparation, they will all die." He made a final decision. We have to train them to be stronger than they are now. He concluded the meeting and then turned his attention to monitor Cell Gang Rim more closely. The scene shifted to Gang Rim, who was standing in front of the door with a confused expression. The door was plastered with talismans and sealed tight. He couldn't enter it. A bright red system panel appeared. "We will postpone the opening of the third gate indefinitely. An announcement will be made as soon as the details are decided." Signed, the CO2 Fate Protection Organization. The story flashed back to a few days earlier. Gang Rim glanced back when he heard two people talking. "Are you sure the method John Goonham mentioned for clearing the stage is accurate? I feel like I'm going to become a frog dissection expert soon." "What if he lied to us?" The blonde guy replied firmly. "No way. What would he gain from lying?" But the other guy was still suspicious. "It's just so weird. The people who managed to pass the trial aren't even close to John Goonham." Hearing that, the other person suddenly realized something. That's true. Before this, Doc Gozen and Cell Gang Rim cleared the stage much slower than him, even though they were in the same group," the other guy added. "And after that, those two didn't travel together anymore." The blonde guy looked up and said, "Then I guess we should just scout ahead first." "Right." Gang Rim just gave a forced smile after hearing that. He must have spread false information everywhere. Doc Gozen definitely abandoned him. I would have hit two birds with one stone if they were still traveling together. A bright red system panel gradually appeared before his eyes. He read it carefully. Assembly notice. "Everyone, please gather at the hall at 6 p.m. tonight. Signed, Anna Vihaja." He thought, "It's time." Anna V stood in front of the sealed door and greeted them. "Hello?" She took the lead, saying, "I have summoned everyone here to make an announcement regarding the third gate." She raises her hand and says, "First point, starting from right now. The talismans are immediately taken down. You guys are allowed to enter the third stage." The whole crowd gets excited as soon as they see that. She continues saying that from the third stage onward, you will truly step into the demon realm. And it is no longer a training ground set up by the protection agency like before. She concludes by saying that from now on, everyone will clear the stage together. Anna V emphasizes that in the true demon realm, the environment will be much harsher, and you will have to face them head-on, against a whole slew of monsters that are stronger and way more formidable. She adds that the gods will be watching everyone's slaughter in the demon realm. She pulls out her phone and says, "When you hear the voice of a god, do not respond immediately, but check the latest updates in the tutorial window first." Everyone immediately opens it to look, and the tutorial window has changed, so she explains that we have added solutions for various situations in the demon realm, and we suggest you read it carefully before entering the gate. Anna V politely clasps her hands together. saying that is all the advice we have for you guys. She furrows her brows and says, please. Everyone looks at her with fear as she says, do not die. Someone trembles and asks if she just told us not to die. The crowd starts whispering that if there is no limit on party members, then gathering as many people as possible is best, and we should read the guide first. Suddenly, a girl rushes over from behind Gang Rim and says hello, making him startle and turn around to say hi to her. The two sisters cling to him, asking if he can tell them apart, saying it is not fun at all because other people always get confused by them. He looks at them with familiarity, thinking how could he not tell them apart, since in his past life, Yutu and Sinua were the rare few who were willing to talk to me when John Gunam went around spreading false rumors. He smiles slightly, thinking, moreover, even though you are twins, your fates are different. As Yunbom suggests, people would easily tell us apart if you agreed to cut your hair. But Yoon-gil stubbornly says, my hair is my decision. He uses his ability again, activating the authority to discover fate. Ayunbom. Rank. Class line Tier 1. Golden Attribute. Authority. Flawless Marksmanship. Subclass. Phantom Tier 1. When using authority or ranged weapons, you will always hit the target. The amount of mana consumed will vary depending on the distance and level of the target. The fate window of the girl also appears clearly, showing Yoon-gil. Rank, class line Tier 1, Golden Attribute. Authority. 100 shots, 100 hits. Subclass Phantom Tier 1. When using authority or ranged weapons, you will always hit the target. The amount of mana consumed will vary depending on the distance and rank of the target. Gang Rim lowers his face, thinking I guess things will not change. Memories come flooding back that in the previous life, Ayunbom survived. Ayunbom back then was helpless to the extreme. As for Yoon-gil, she will die in the 3rd stage. The system turns red, stating you sense the presence of the white fox spirit from Yoon-gil. And she will encounter a life-threatening danger in the next few days. Thinking that, he suggests asking Yoon-gil if she wants to go with him in the 3rd stage. The little girl nods excitedly, saying sure, since I do not want to hunt with this sister of mine anyway, making the other girl pout and ask what she just said. He tilts his head, saying, Yoon-bom too, thinking this time I will definitely help them survive. He places his hand on the door. The game rules appear immediately. Training Stage 3. The Frozen Room. Clear conditions are in the Ice-Snow Valley. Hunt 1 or more of each type of monster. Number of monster types killed is 0 out of 10. Time limit is 14 days. The inside is covered in frost. The wind whips straight at the players, and currently water energy is surrounding the demon realm, so water energy suppresses the fate of Seol Gang Rim, reducing stats by 10%. A mechanical sound rings out stating you have entered the frozen room. The two sisters are bewildered, saying it is so cold. Yoon-bom reminds her that hunting monsters is the mission to clear the stage this time, while Yoon-gil squeezes her eyes shut, saying, I cannot see anything. Suddenly a few rabbits jump out, catching the group's attention, and they say, look over there, those rabbits are so cute. But their sparkling eyes suddenly turn glowing red. Their shapes distort ferociously, and a stream of blood sprays out. The rabbits are taken down very quickly. One horned rabbit, insect class Tier 1, asking what the hell is that, since insect class Tier 1 should look much weaker than that. The two girls excitedly open the system, complaining this store is seriously evil. Full of items, but with no search feature. The little girl asked curiously, how do you find items so easily? He thought to himself. Well, I've used it for many years. Then he made up a quick excuse, saying the design is just like a game I used to play. The little girl pleaded, hey big brother, help me choose a weapon. I'm planning to buy a bow and arrow. Before long, both of them had their own weapons and were fully equipped. Gang Rim continuously took down the one-horned rabbits. The two sisters chattered nonstop, bragging that I killed one more than you did. He glanced at the girl, noting that Yoon-bom is a gunner. Then he looked over at the other little girl, remembering that Yoon-gyeon used to be an archer competing for the national team. He made a quick assessment, seeing that their hunting efficiency increased clearly when they used weapons they were familiar with. He recalled his past life, where Yoon had become a top-tier marksman. Gangrim's mood darkened, thinking that if Yoon had lived, she would have achieved similar success. No, the two of them working together would have been even stronger. The feeling of loss came rushing back, as in his past life. Yoon seemed to turn into a different person after Yoon death. Yoon gradually became gloomy, and she never smiled again. Then, to avenge the death of Yoon Bom only knew how to throw herself into hunting monsters. She was cold as ice after every battle, becoming strong at a dizzying pace and being recruited into the Asura Guild, one of the 5 most powerful guilds. She was always somber, but she was never truly happy. Gangrim looked up, realizing both of them have good destinies, and they could become even stronger. He reminded himself, I must help Yoon survive in order to save Yoon. I will help them join the Flying Tiger Guild. He calculated carefully, realizing that the members of the Flying Tiger Guild who had died at the hands of Yoon, the sniper of the Asura Guild, would now survive. After thinking it through, he turned back to look at them, deciding, all right, I will watch over Yoon very carefully. But then, his face suddenly darkened with fear. Gangrim ran outside in a panic, seeing only Yoon fighting, and thought, Yoon, where did she go? He and Yoon ran everywhere, shouting, Yoon, where are you? Yoon. He called out loudly in fear, Yoon. The girl looked around anxiously, saying she just went to the bathroom. Why did she go so far? He spoke up, saying, I heard a scream coming from over there. She was surprised, asking, but I didn't hear anything at all. He rushed towards that direction, insisting, I am certain. A young, immature voice rang out, Big sister, brother Gangrim, I'm over here. The girl was startled, crying out, Yoon. From down in the hole, explained that the ground suddenly collapsed. Her sister looked down and said, we will pull you up right away. Gangrim didn't hesitate and jumped straight down, asking, Yoon, are you okay? The little girl replied, I'm fine, but this person is. He turned to look at the person lying next to her. He immediately recognized John Gunam. Gunam gritted his teeth in frustration, thinking, damn it, her teammate turns out to be Seol Gangrim. He sighed and asked, do you need help? He yelled out in rage, no, I don't need a guy like you to help me. Gangrim heard that and immediately pulled the little girl away, saying, all right, let's go then. The little girl looked up at him, asking, we're just leaving like that. He and Yoon pulled the little girl out of the hole. She said that he told her his legs were paralyzed because a scary monster attacked him. Gangrim frowned, asking, paralysis poison. He looked back coldly, saying, it was probably just the rabbits. The toxicity will disappear on its own. Gunam lay trembling at the bottom of the pit, hearing the whole conversation, thinking, rabbits, they are the weakest ones here. Jayon, you didn't have to say it like that. That bastard Seol Gangrim. He slammed his hand on the ground, forcing himself to swallow this humiliation. His voice was full of malice as he said, that's right. Bad people must pay the price for what they have done. A voice suddenly rang out, asking, do you need some help? He became alert, asking, who are you? Scene change. Gangrim led the 2 little girls to the door, saying, let's go back now. The difficulty will increase when it gets dark. The 2 of them still didn't want to leave, saying, but I increased my stats to get stronger, and I also collected quite a few achievements. He reassured them. There's no need to rush. Today is only the first day. The little girl asked, so will you go with us tomorrow too? He promised, yeah, let's stay together for a while until we complete this room's challenge. Okay. The little girl was excited, shouting, that's wonderful. Let's complete this room together. Suddenly, a loud roaring sound echoed through the air. It was a bone-chilling sound, and I recognized that voice immediately. Gangrim rushed toward the noise, shouting, you guys head back to the waiting room first. Yoon asked worriedly, but what about you? He replied, I forgot a few things. I will be back soon. Meanwhile, a pack of wolves was completely surrounding Sua's group. Every single one of them was in a mutated state. She fought back with everything she had, yelling, "Everyone, stay calm." She felt anxious seeing her teammates getting attacked. She ordered, "Everyone, get behind me." Activating ability, Woodleaf Art. Sua swung her sword to block the fierce attacks from the wolves. She did not back down. The Woodleaf Art was protecting everyone. "Come on, Sua." She pushed herself, thinking, "I have to kill as many as possible so it will be easier to handle later." Suddenly, a wolf bit deep into her shoulder. Blood spurted out. She gritted her teeth against the pain, thinking, "If only we had just one more person who could fight." Just then, Gangrim appeared, transferring achievement points to ability. Firebird. Ability. Firebird has upgraded to Insect class, Tier 2. He pulled her out of the wolves' encirclement. Seol Gangrim. Every strike of his sword was clean, precise, and full of power. She also gathered her strength to take down a few stragglers. The battle ended. She panted heavily. "That ended really fast. Thank you. Seol Gangrim." Gangrim's expression did not look good at all. "Go back to the waiting room. Why didn't you run away?" Everyone looked in their direction, confused. Gangrim scolded her sternly. "You should have known that situation was too disadvantageous for you." He lectured, "You should run if you see you can't win. Do you really think you have the ability to escape without getting hurt?" Sua felt indignant. "You always say I'm weak, but he denied it. This time, you were just lucky." He was so worried he was getting angry. What if the monsters had hidden abilities you didn't know about? What if no one came to help you? The past resurfaced in his mind. A meaningless death like that. Sua's death in the previous life kept haunting him. It could not happen again. Seol Gangrim shouted, "Are you planning to risk your life to shield others? Saving people is something only the strong can do." Then he turned away sharply, his voice cold. "Remember those words." He threw back one last sentence. "Lose focus for just 1 second, and you will leave this place as a corpse." Two girls rushed over to comfort Sua. "Sua, are you okay? Seol Gangrim is being a bit too harsh. Does he mean you should have just let us all die?" She just gave a forced, awkward smile. She quickly explained, "He is just worried about me." The other girl's eyes widened. "Huh," Sua continued. "He still ran over here to help, after all." She looked at his retreating back, her heart in turmoil. "I don't understand why he keeps trying to play the bad guy. He is actually very sentimental." Then Sua called out to him, "Seol Gangrim." Gangrim froze. "Thank you for worrying about me." Hearing that, he let out a long sigh, telling himself, "Anyway." The scene cut to the battle at the third gate. The ice room. First completion. Completer. Dako Jun. Monsters eliminated. 10 out of 10. The two sisters looked on, disappointed. "You have completed the ice room. Someone cleared the room before us. I thought we would be in first place. I just finished up too. Really, that was so close." Both of them asked immediately. "So, are you leaving now?" Gangrim replied firmly. "I will stay and wait for you two to finish as well." He quietly watched the innocent sisters, thinking to himself that since nobody ever returns after clearing this place, he could just come back later. Gangrim calculated his every move, keeping his eyes on the hidden reward that only appeared after hunting down exactly 11 different types of monsters. Ion Boom grumbled in annoyance. "Ion Jion, quit stealing my kills. Focus on hunting your own monsters first." Even so, he couldn't shake this feeling of unease, since this raid was wrapping up a little faster than it did in his past life. Activating ability, Destiny Exploration. The system chimed in, warning that the energy of the Necro-White Tiger was nearby, and the aura of death was closing in. He darted his eyes around, wondering if anyone other than Yoon Gaion was about to lose their life. The system continued, announcing the worst possible destiny combination, revealing that demonic power was clinging to John Gunham's fate. He paused for a beat, realizing that getting tangled up with that guy again would be a total pain in the neck. Gangrim rubbed his chin thoughtfully, wondering if he should just go ahead and kill him right now. Before leaving, he reminded them, "I'm going to scout around that hill for a bit, so you two keep hunting, but stay together so you don't get lost." And the girl obediently replied, "Yes, sir." After saying that, he gripped his sword and walked away, figuring they would be fine as long as they stuck together. Gunam was already blocking the path ahead, sneering. "Finally found you. I've been looking for you." Sel Gang Rim, causing him to frown and ask, "Why?" He controlled a floating crystal, saying, "I think it's about time I paid you back." His eyes glowed a menacing red as he hissed, "Paying you back for everything you did to me." Gang Rim remained calm, thinking it was fortunate that he was strong enough to handle this bastard. He arrogantly raised his hand high, unleashing a burst of light, and declared, "Of course, because I am the main character, the one who can hear the voice of God." John Gunam lifted his hand, summoning a sharp shard of ice that was swirling with freezing cold energy. He grinned broadly and taunted, "Get ready for this, Sel Gang Rim." As soon as he finished speaking, he launched ice arrows straight at Gang Rim, shouting, "This is the power of the divine." Sel Gang Rim tightened his grip on his sword, parrying the attack while gritting his teeth and thinking, "I knew it." Gang Rim suddenly remembered the words of Ana Vihaja, saying that the gods would be watching his journey into the demon realm. His face darkened, and a drop of sweat rolled down his cheek as he told himself, "You're getting too obsessed with this." The system suddenly announced, "Activating skill, Destiny Exploration." An information panel popped up above the white-haired guy's head. Identifying John Gunam. Class, Human Level 1. Deity, the Plague's little guest. He smirked triumphantly, bragging, "I'm the main character, so of course I've been blessed by the gods." An image of John Gunam kneeling before a holy spirit suddenly flashed through his mind. Anyone who walks with the gods is known as a mage. Seeing Gunam lose control and unleash power to manipulate thousands of sharp ice shards, Gang Rim immediately realized he was borrowing power from a blessing. His gaze deepened, feeling lucky that it was at least a low-level god. Probably John Gould, as he ran his hand along his blade, igniting flames wherever he touched, calculating that his opponent's mana had increased slightly and he had gained new skills. A shard of ice wrapped in bone-chilling cold energy shot straight at him. The info panel popped up. Smallpox. Class, Human Level 1. Borrows the god's power to infect the opponent with smallpox when hit while the skill is active, causing the struck area to be exposed to the disease. And Gang Rim glanced at the shard of smallpox. He sighed softly, telling himself, "So if that thing touches me, I get smallpox. What an annoying skill." Gang Rim steeled his resolve, deciding he had to drain his mana first, and as soon as he thought that, he swung his sword and chopped into a tree trunk. Gang Rim spun around and dashed deep into the forest, setting the trees ablaze along his path. Gunam chased close behind, controlling the smallpox shards to shoot at Sel Gang Rim, screaming, "Running is useless." A section of the forest was instantly engulfed in bright red flames, burning furiously. John Gunam drew the cold air around him into his hand, closed his eyes, and shouted, "Divine punishment will chase you to the ends of the earth." Right at that moment, a herd of red-eyed black boars charged out from the deep forest. They cut right between Gang Rim and John Gunam, making him jump in surprise. The boars couldn't dodge Gunam's ice arrows in time, getting hit and collapsing. But John Gunam frantically controlled the smallpox shards to keep chasing Sel Gang Rim, cursing loudly, "Damn it, stand still, Sel Gang Rim." John Gunam frowned and roared, "Get out of my way, you annoying pigs." As soon as he said that, he leaped up to jump over the herd, but suddenly a giant wild boar emerged with its mouth wide open, and Gunam, caught off guard, slammed his whole body hard against its tusk. His face went dark, and the pain was so intense that he spewed out a large mouthful of blood. Right after the impact, Gunam crashed heavily to the ground in agony. The wild boar didn't even bother to spare him a glance. It just turned around and dashed off, disappearing in an instant. Suddenly, a sinister voice echoed through the air. "I came here to take a look because I heard a human had been blessed by the gods, but he turns out to be so disappointingly weak. I guess that is only to be expected from a low-tier god." Right. Upon hearing that voice, Gunam's red eyes flared with light, and he struggled to catch his breath as he forced himself to look up. Gunam gazed into the empty space before him, thinking to himself, "Aren't the other gods watching me right now?" Suddenly, that amused voice echoed out. Watching such a weak human struggle is actually quite captivating. Gunam ground his teeth, his fingernails digging deep into the snow as he snapped. "Is this really that entertaining to you guys?" Another voice answered immediately. "You got that right." Suddenly, a sharp blade plunged straight into John Gunam's shoulder, making him scream out in agonizing pain. Gangrim sat on Gunam's back, his hand gripping the sword hilt tight. That gloomy voice paused in shock. Oh my God, he actually lost. Gunam hung his head low, screaming out in total helplessness. "Master Chonggun, please, save me." Gangrim yanked the blade out with a rough motion. He called out softly, "Hey there, John Gunam." Sel Gangrim's eyes were cold as ice. He pressed the question. "Have you finished getting your revenge yet?" "Huh." He pressed the tip of his sword right against John Gunam's ear, his other hand pinning him down, then continued. "You have been chasing me around for a while now. Since you did that, you must know what the consequences are, right?" From the opposite side, a small figure came running in a hurry, shouting loudly, "Big brother, brother Gangrim." Gangrim stabbed his sword into the ground, his voice stone cold. "You got lucky today, John Gunam." He stood up, sheathing his sword and dropping a warning. "Next time, I will definitely kill you. Go get yourself ready." Gangrim rushed toward that small figure, his voice softening. "Didn't I tell you not to go anywhere?" Ion Bomb seemed not to hear him. She ran up frantically and cried, "Brother, something happened." Ion Bomb screamed as she ran. A herd of snowboars broke loose. They knocked Ion Gion down. Hearing that, Gangrim froze in his tracks. "What did you say?" Ion Bomb shouted loudly, "He has disappeared." A mysterious voice suddenly spoke up. "Unfortunately, your destiny is once again shrouded in dark energy." The image of the two panic-stricken kids flashed in Gangrim's mind. So many people had been hurt when they were on the same team as Sel Gangrim. Even his parents had died. Everywhere he went, someone always had to fall. Ion Bomb saw his face darken and called out in panic, "Brother Gangrim, are you okay?" Gangrim felt a chill run through him as he thought, "This is all my fault." A malicious voice cut in. "I knew it. You want to save people. Keep dreaming," snapping out of that voice. Gangrim strode past Ion Bomb. He shouted, "I am going to find him," leaving the little girl bewildered. "Huh." Ion Bomb quickly chased after Gangrim. She called out loud, "Wait for me." Gangrim suddenly blocked Ion Bomb. "Go back, Ion Bomb." The girl paused for a second. "Huh." Then she immediately grabbed his hand, screaming, "I am coming too." Gangrim yelled at Ion Bomb, "But what if something happens to you too?" Being yelled at, Ion Bomb's eyes turned red. She said, feeling aggrieved, "You told me not to wander around alone. Remember." Ion Bomb grabbed Gangrim's cloak, her hands trembling slightly. She continued, "How can I go back by myself when Ion Gion might be in danger?" Gangrim lowered his voice. "I will make you go back if it gets dark or if anything dangerous happens." Seeing her silence, he asked, "Aren't you going to answer?" Looking at Ion Bomb's determination, he finally gave in. "All right then." The two of them crossed the white snow amidst the howling blizzard. Sel Gangrim thought to himself, "I do not know how Ion Gion died in my past life, but now that he is in danger, it must be here. Please do not die." Ion Bomb looked around fearfully. She said, "There are no monsters here." "Right." Gangrim did not reply. In his head he thought, "That is because low-level monsters would not dare to step into the territory of an apex predator." Suddenly a strange noise rang out. Ion Bomb asked curiously, "What is that sound?" Gangrim grabbed her wrist, speaking urgently, "This way." Just in time to hide behind a large rock, a massive hairy figure loomed into view. It turned its head to look toward the rock. It was the Yeti. Classification: Grade 3. Phantom. a humanoid monster covered in fur, only appearing before humans on snowy days. It wants to fight any opponent stronger than itself. Gangrim shuddered as he glanced at it. He froze in horror, realizing that what it was holding in its hand was Ion Jian. Suddenly, Ion Bomb beside him dashed out. Gangrim reached out in panic. The girl gripped her pistol tight, pointing it straight at the Yeti. That action immediately drew its attention toward the two of them. Gangrim yanked Ion Bomb back, forcing her to hide behind the rock. The Yeti turned back and saw no one, looking confused. Suddenly, a faint purple aura wrapped around Gangrim's body. He whispered to himself, "Wait a minute." The system suddenly sounded an alarm. Skill activated. Stolen destiny. A sigil flared up with Gangrim at the center, scanning the surroundings. The announcement boomed. "There are no dead people in this area." Gangrim broke into a sweat. Sighing softly, he said, "Fighting it now will only put him in more danger." Gangrim watched the back of the giant Yeti as it walked away, then continued, "I guess it is heading back to its cave. It looks like it is carrying a snowboard, too." Both of them stayed close to the high cliff. Gangrim added, "We have to wait for it to put Ion down first." Yunbom asked hesitantly, "So, do we wait until it puts her down before we attack?" Gangrim cut her off immediately. "No, it's best if we avoid combat altogether." Gangrim tossed a gun with 3 rounds over to Yunbom and instructed, "As soon as it puts Jian down, fire this to lure it away, then bolt straight for the exit. Just keep shooting while you run." Yunbom stared at the item in shock. It was a flare gun. Gangrim double-checked. "Remember, do not fight, just lure it away and run. Can you handle that?" Yunbom replied decisively, "I got it." Gangrim continued, "I'll rush in to rescue Jian while you're drawing it away." After saying that, he leaped off the icy ledge. Gangrim thought to himself, with Yunbom's agility, she should be able to outrun that Yeti easily, especially since she has the terrain advantage. Yunbom looked through her binoculars and saw that the Yeti had finally set Jian down. She raised the flare gun high with her other hand. Instantly, a section of the sky lit up brilliantly. The loud bang and the flash of light startled the giant Yeti, grabbing its attention. It gritted its teeth and clenched its fists in anger. Just as Gangrim predicted, it stopped moving toward Jian and turned to chase after the source of the flare instead. At that same moment, Yunbom took off running as fast as she could. Gangrim seized the opportunity to rush over to Jian, shouting her name loudly. He shook her, urging urgently, "Wake up, Jian, come on." He held Jian close, realizing she was completely unconscious. Gangrim told himself, "I can't force a potion down her throat in this state." He hoisted the girl onto his shoulder, thinking, "I need to get her back to the lobby." Suddenly, Gangrim froze, then jerked his head up. A giant Yeti stood looming right in front of him. Gangrim cursed inwardly. "Damn it! I didn't think there was another one of them here." Its eyes glowed a furious red, staring daggers at Gangrim. Suddenly, it reached out a massive hand to snatch him up. Gangrim immediately conjured flames in his hand, pitying himself. "Man, my luck is absolutely terrible." Meanwhile, Yunbom kept running and firing flares into the air. The Yeti's heavy foot stomped down on the snow. Suddenly, it spun around and stopped chasing Yunbom, leaving her completely stunned. Her eyes went wide. What? Why is it turning back? Yunbom suddenly remembered Gangrim and Jian were still back at the cave. She frantically fired flares into the sky and screamed to draw its attention. "Number. Hey. Where do you think you're going? You're supposed to be chasing me." She yelled in panic. "Turn around, come back here." Back in the cave, the remaining Yeti glared at Gangrim, its eyes glowing crimson. It tossed aside whatever it was holding and charged straight at Gangrim. He thought to himself, "I knew my destiny was never to be lucky." As he conjured a fireball in his hand, as he moved, fiery energy wrapped tightly around his feet. Just as the Yeti lifted its foot, Gangrim immediately slid underneath it. He dashed quickly behind its back. A strange noise echoed, making Gangrim flinch, his eyes widening in shock. He glanced back and saw the Yeti that was supposed to be lured away charging straight at him. With Jian on his shoulder, He found himself cornered by two aggressive, giant yetis closing in. He gritted his teeth, glaring at them. He twisted his body to dodge an attack. He cleanly evaded the yeti's massive swinging arm. He set Yoongi-on down near the yeti's firewood stockpile. As his flaming hand touched the wood, he thought, "Fine then. I was planning on going hunting anyway." Yoongi-on lay quietly on the snowy ground. He drew his sword and whispered to the unconscious girl, "Just hang on a little longer, Yoongi-on." His gaze turned ice-cold as he stared at the approaching monsters. "I'm going to slaughter you all right now." The two yetis opened their massive jaws wide, baring their razor-sharp fangs. They lunged straight at him. Their feet stomped heavily, and he pointed his sword forward, ready to charge. Suddenly, he shot a quick glance to the side. A smug smirk curled on his lips as he realized, "Got it. This is actually doable." With that thought, he dragged his blazing sword behind him and dashed forward, heading straight for the two yetis. The system announced, "Your ability has increased to level 18. The two yetis kept smashing their fists into the ice, trying to crush him, but he dodged effortlessly as the ice surface shattered into pieces. Wherever they struck, he was already weaving out of the way. The red-skinned yeti slammed both fists down where he stood, but he leaped into the air. He swung his flaming sword upward in a violent arc. He glided past the red yeti's shoulder, aiming straight for the one behind it. Suddenly, he vaulted into the air, causing the rear beast to slam hard into the red yeti's shoulder, leaving it looking completely bewildered. Struck hard, the red yeti dropped to one knee, and he seized the chance to slash his sword across its body. The blue-skinned yeti stood there, completely stunned. The ice beneath them, unable to bear the weight of the two giants, cracked into jagged streaks. In moments, one slipped and sank into the freezing water, while the other struggled to cling to the edge of the ice. A red streak tore through the dark space, and the system announced, "You have defeated the Yeti, a Tier 3 demon class." He thought to himself, "All right, the demon world is full of terrain made entirely of ice and snow." He recalled the time Eon fell into the lake, calling out, "Sister, Mr. Gangrim, I am over here," and he continued his train of thought. And these places usually collapse easily, just like where Jian fell. Watching the giant yeti struggle to crawl out, he thought, "These damn monsters won't be able to climb back up." Suddenly, the beast slammed its hand violently onto the ice, shattering the surrounding ice into fragments. He plummeted down, cursing inwardly. Damn it all. Suddenly, a mass of tree branches surged up and caught him. A figure appeared at the edge of the cracked ice, looking down at him, making him freeze in surprise. Shinhua spoke in a flat tone. "If you let your guard down, you will leave here as a corpse. Co Gang Rim, though I am glad I did not arrive too late." Gang Rim gave a forced smile and said, "Thank you." Shinhua smiled and reminded him, "Save your thanks for the one who went looking for me." Just as Ion Bomb rushed past behind her, Shinhua offered, "I will pull you up, so hold on tight." But he shook his head and said, "No, lower me down first. I need to check something." A moment later, he climbed up and saw Ion Bomb frantically shouting, "Ion, Ion, Ion, please open your eyes." Ion Jian lay there motionless, not moving an inch. Seeing this, he rushed over, a thought flashing through his mind. Was I too late? He gritted his teeth, thinking, is it truly impossible to fight against the fate we were born with? Shinhua stood beside them, looking just as tense. Suddenly, a soft groan broke the silence. Ion Jian clutched her arm, shivering uncontrollably, and asked in a trembling voice, "It is so cold. Can you turn on the heater, big sister?" The little girl had just woken up, and the relief on the faces of Shinhua and Eon Bomb was obvious. Ion Jian looked around in confusion and asked, "Where are we?" While Shinhua shouted in joy, "She is alive. Ion Jian is still alive." But the little girl just looked puzzled and said, "Of course I am alive. Was I supposed to be dead?" Hearing that, he froze in place. The system announced that the aura of the white tiger death spirit had vanished from Ion Jian. The sound of the two sisters bickering filled the air. "You idiot. You big idiot. You are hurt. You know. The system panel displayed it clearly. A destiny had been altered. He immediately rushed over to check it out. His eyes went wide as he stared at the text on the system panel. Destiny alteration has been activated. Cell Gang Rim's Destiny class has been upgraded from Insect Tier 3 to Insect Tier 2. Gang Rim status window popped up. Name: Cell Gang Rim. Class: Insect Tier 2. Attribute: Fire. Destiny Discovery. Dragon Class Tier 3. Destiny Plunder. Dragon Class Tier 1. Fire Control. Insect Class Tier 2. Molting. Demon Class Tier 3. Reading through the status window, he stood there in shock and thought, this cannot be possible. I thought there was absolutely no way to change a destiny class. Yunbom happily rushed over and hugged him tight, shouting out loud, Yoonjian is alive all thanks to you, big brother. Yunbom's ears turned bright red, and her voice dropped to a whisper. Thank you so much. He waved his hand to dismiss the panel, speaking gently as he looked at Yunbom wiping away her tears. He thought to himself, I will leave the complicated stuff for later. Meanwhile, over by Jian, Shinua asked kindly, How are you feeling? The little girl replied, It hurts less now, but that pill was way too big. He smiled brightly and patted Yunbom on the head, concluding in his mind, the most important thing right now is... The girl let out a sigh of relief. What a relief! Is that Yoonjian is still alive? In stark contrast to the happy scene with him, John Gunam was running for his life through the snow. A gloomy voice echoed again. Are you okay? What should I do? What should I do? Wait a moment, I will try a few things. Gunam angrily raised his middle finger to the sky and screamed, You scammer! What kind of god are you anyway? I never should have trusted a sick god like you. Suddenly the voice warned Gunam, Hey, you are crossing the line. He panicked and called out loudly, Young Master Cheon Guan, Young Master Cheon Guan, Young Master Cheon Guan. Gunam turned his head back. He saw Gozun and jumped in fright, screaming, Doc Gozun. Gunam got stuck in an ice crevice and immediately begged Doc Gozun for help. Save me. Cell Gang Rim attacked me, so I ran away. And then, he angrily pointed back towards Gang Rim. I am sure that bastard Cell Gang Rim is a villain. So stop with the ridiculous act about hidden awakener powers or whatever, and let's defeat that bastard together. You said we shared the same goal. Doc Gozun spoke indifferently. If you are the protagonist, you should be able to handle this simply. But you lost to Cell Gang Rim. Gunam kept shouting. Anyway, he is just a coward. Gozun sighed helplessly and said, I thought you could not reveal your true power because I was with you. But now I guess you are not the protagonist after all. Gunam lay on his back in the snow, eyes wide, screaming, I told you already. I am the protagonist, so save me right now. Gozun suddenly cut him off with a question. If you are the protagonist, you can escape by yourself. Right. Hearing that, Gunam was stunned. What? He frantically screamed, No, I am not the protagonist, so please save me. Gozun asked indifferently, You are not. Suddenly his eyes turned cold as he swept his gaze over Gunam. If you are not the protagonist, then why should I bother with you? Seeing Gozun turn his back to leave, he screamed in panic. Wait, Dr. Gozun, do not leave me. Please, save me. Hey, you crazy bastard, stop right there. John Gunam's scream echoed throughout the snowy mountain. Doc Gozun. Gang Rim swung his sword, wiping out the surrounding beasts. With every slash that fell, a monster collapsed instantly. But they were swarming in too great numbers, and soon he was forced into a tight encirclement. After clearing the beasts, he slowly wiped his sword. Suddenly a loud voice called out, Brother Gang Rim, we are done over here. Yoonjian spoke up confidently. I did all of that, brother. Yunbom heard that and laughed out loud, exposing her immediately. You just stood in the back supporting. Yoonjian heard that and argued back. What are you saying? You only hit the first shot. Suddenly Gang Rim's eyes went wide in horror. He shouted a warning, Get your heads down. Immediately after, a person swung a sword slashing straight towards them. Ayunbom shouted angrily, "What the hell? Who are you?" She did not answer but coldly called out, "Cell Gang Rim." Baek Yang's eyes were sharp as knives as she glared at the girl, her voice full of killing intent as she ordered, "If you hand over Cell Gang Rim to me, I will let you leave peacefully." Yoonbom angrily raised her gun, and behind her, Yoon Jian had drawn her bow. Yoonbom questioned, "What the hell are you talking about?" Seeing the sisters react, Gang Rim panicked and stopped them. "No. Stop it." Baek Yang raised her sword high. Gang Rim shouted loudly, "Yoonbom, Yoon Jian," and he rushed towards them. But behind him, the swarm of beasts was still chasing relentlessly. Gang Rim spoke up, "Stop," then froze as he saw sharp claws reaching out. Suddenly a hand grabbed his face tightly, yanking him backward. Thousands of hands burst up from the ground, clawing at his legs right before his eyes. He saw Yoonbom and Yoon Jian getting slashed by sharp blades. They lay writhing on the ground in agony, their eyes wide open, staring at him with pure accusation. "Why did you have to show up in our lives? We could have lived in peace if it wasn't for you." He was pinned down, eyes wide with horror at the scene before him. Every questioning word slammed into him. "Why didn't you save us? We never should have brought you into the Flying Tiger Gang." Suddenly, a gloomy voice echoed out, "Don't you ever forget, Cell Gang Rim." Yoonbom clung to his shoulder, speaking in a bone-chilling tone, "You killed us." Suddenly, the sound of rushing water snapped him back to reality. He braced his hands against the sink, reminding himself, it was just a dream. Just a dream. He splashed cold water on his face to wake up, then hung his head low, telling himself, that future won't happen. I won't let it repeat itself ever again. His expression darkened as he thought, is that an omen? Is it getting closer? He recalled the scene where Yoonbom and Yoon Gian were so happy. The system chimed with a notification. Yoonbom thinks you are a savior. The destinies of Cell Gang Rim and Yoonbom have begun to intertwine. Yoon Jian thinks you are a savior. The destinies of Cell Gang Rim and Yoon Jian have begun to intertwine. He let the water keep running, muttering gloomily to himself, I need to keep my distance from them. Yoonbom peeked out from behind the door, asking loudly with worry, "Big brother, do you hate us?" Gang Rim spoke up. "I just have some work I need to do." Hearing that, Yoonbom immediately retorted, "But big sister Sinua is coming too," he thought sadly. They've gotten closer to Sinua. "I don't need to worry about them anymore," he said aloud. "That's good." "She's a wonderful person," Yoonbom shouted. "Then you have to come too." He finally gave in. "Okay, next time." As soon as he finished speaking, he slammed the door shut. Yoon Jian looked at the door in confusion. "Has Brother Gang Rim been distant with us ever since that day?" Yoonbom replied. "He probably has his reasons." The two of them walked down the stairs, making an X sign to Jinhua. She sighed and said, "Nothing we can do about it. Let's go to the fourth room by ourselves." With that, Shinua reached out and opened the mysterious door. Behind her were Yoonbom and Yoon Jian carrying bows. As soon as they stepped into the Sword Forest room, the fourth training room, all three froze. Completion conditions. This room requires hunting monsters and collecting soul gems in the Sword Forest maze. Current soul gems, 0 out of 1,000. Yoonbom cheered. "This time it's a forest," Yoon Jian chimed in. "The air is so fresh." Shinua warned them, "Guys, be careful. Something is coming." Yoonbom drew a pistol, asking loudly, "Is it a monster? Where's it coming from?" Shinua raised her sword to deflect a falling yellow leaf, but as she raised her other hand, the leaf sliced right through her skin. She said, "No, it's not a monster. I think in this room, the forest itself is the danger." A header panel and a teleportation gate appeared. The Sword Forest room is a demon realm with an endless forest. The terrain does not change. Reaching the end will return you to the starting position. The brittle tree branches suddenly turned into crystal, sparkling under the sunlight. Yoonbom adjusted the grip on the gun, eyes glued to the information panel, and whispered, 1,000 soul gems. This is gonna take a while, Shinhwa immediately reminded them. Let's scout the area first. Ayunbom crossed arms and instructed. This time we stick together so we don't get lost. Ayunjian waved a hand dismissively. I'm not a kid, Ayunbom repeated. Brother Gangrim said we have to stay together, Yunjian said regretfully. It would be great if he was here with us. Yunbom nodded. Yeah. Hearing this, Shinhwa thought to herself, I guess he treats these kids really well. She remembered the times Gangrim spoke to her. You're still not good enough. She told herself she would risk her life to protect others. Saving people is something only the strong can do. Her expression softened as she rubbed her chin, thinking. He doesn't say it out loud, but deep down, he's definitely a good person. Suddenly, Yunbom pointed. There's something over there. Shinhwa immediately turned around. She saw Yunjian heading deeper into the forest and shouted, Jian, stop! The little girl curiously looked down at her feet. Suddenly, a trail of red blood appeared. Meanwhile, Gangrim was resting his chin on his hand, staring at the egg in front of him. He muttered, good grief. The egg opened a mouth full of sharp fangs. He froze. It's even more grotesque than I heard. Information popped up. Unidentified egg. Class. Determined after hatching. It will hatch after being cared for over a period of time. Appearance will change based on what it is fed. The creature to be hatched is currently unknown. The egg was like a giant question mark. It could hatch into one of 6 creatures. Number 1. The unidentified egg. This was the reward he received after killing the snowman. The 11th monster type. What it hatched into depended on what he fed it. He wrapped a cloth around the egg, thinking as he worked. I know what I want it to hatch into. I can't just feed it anything. It's not that I'm afraid of getting bitten, and this isn't the only thing I got. He recalled the scene of the 2 snowmen falling into the abyss. Accompanied by a system notification, you have defeated the rank 3 demon-class snowman. A faint purple light radiated from his body as he thrust his sword firmly into the ground. Activate ability, Plunder Destiny. Plunder ability, Combat Instinct, Plunder Attribute, Water. The information panel appears, Cell Gang Rim. Classification, Insect Class Tier 2. Attribute, Fire. He says, change attribute to water. The system immediately complies, changing Cell Gang Rim's attribute to water. He feels a distinct transformation in his body, his eyes widening in shock. Water overcomes fire has been unlocked. He looks at the stat panel. The reduced stats have returned to normal. Cell Gang Rim. Classification, Insect Class Tier 2. Attribute, Water. He sits on the bed, hugging the egg, thinking to himself, I couldn't afford a proper weapon in the ice room because I had to keep buying water attribute food. Luckily now, I've plundered the attribute itself. I'll buy a weapon in the next demon realm. The fire attribute is still useful here. I need to switch again. A moment later, he steps through the teleportation gate, appearing in the 4th door. The system announces entry check. Cell Gang Rim. You have entered the sword forest. A gloomy voice rings out. The ice room was too boring. Maybe this room will be better. It doesn't even bother paying attention to Gangrim, just keeps rambling. Probably not. These guys are still too green. Well, watching rookies grow up slowly is fun too. Gangrim thinks annoyedly. Just walked in and already hearing nonsense. What kind of class talks like that? He touches the control panel and whispers, Disable communication. The mysterious voice is startled. I think he discovered us. He looks and thinks, what should I call these things? Little evil spirits, ghosts. Another sound rings out. He isn't even surprised anymore. The system suddenly announces, you do not have enough mental power. The mysterious group sees his actions and gets interested. He's brave. Gang Rim. Do you want to possess me? Gang Rim frowns in anger. Immediately after, the system announces, the Guardian of the Sword Forest has offered to give you ownership rights. He reads it and thinks, probably the local deity of this demon realm. Then calls out, Store window. Information about the Sword Forest appears. Local deities are gods who manage a specific area. With ownership of the local deity, I will be stronger than anyone in that god's demon realm area. But the local deity is bound to the land. Leaving here makes it useless. He calculates quickly. This room is also called the Sword Forest Maze. Accepting ownership means not worrying about getting lost, he says. Buy item. Immediately a scroll appears in his hand, accompanied by a notification. You have purchased an item. Demon Realm Map. He spreads the scroll out immediately, telling himself, that's enough to find the way. The system panel appears. Use Demon Realm Map. You have explored 1%. The map appears with a small spatial gate. He observes. Currently, there are only rough sketches. The system announces that small dot is the marked entrance to the demon realm. If I move around more locations will be marked. The system announces there are multiple entrances leading to the demon realm. He ponders, am I getting close to the 4th area? He recalls the teleport gate at the Trainee Protection Agency. Thinking in his head. That agency divides into many areas, but in the later rooms as people die off, trainees from other areas will join the raid together. The system panel